by Hurricane Melissa? Or was Hurricane Melissa the answer to this government's long and deliberate march towards authoritarianism and absolutism? That is it.
One doctor does.
Mr. Speaker, the bill before us does not give power to the people to rebuild their country. It takes power from the people and gives it to one man, accountable to one minister, anointed by one prime minister. That is the one. It's proposed here today is a bill that entrenches this government's long-held desire to concentrate power and resources into the hands of a few and to castrate the state agencies and civil servants whose constitutional roles are to act as watchdogs over every taxpayer dollar.
Context.
Mr. Speaker, I have searched the Caribbean, the Americas, the globe for a reconstruction body with a similar oversight and accountability framework. I did not find a better model that Jamaica ignored. I found that Jamaica invented the worst model.
Facts.
I am convinced that this government has designed the weakest governance model for a disaster reconstruction authority that has ever been assembled by a modern democracy. A model destined by its very architecture to be scandal-ridden, destined to fail in the strategic objectives of efficient, resilient, and meaningful reconstruction of the infrastructure and the lives of Jamaican people. The Prime Minister spoke of Peru. He carried us thousands of miles across the world to find his cautionary tale. But, Mr. Speaker, we need not travel that far. The answers are closer to home. The warnings are in our neighborhood. When Hurricane Dorian swept through the Bahamas in September 2019, a Category 5 storm, the strongest ever to make direct landfall in that nation, the Bahamian government did not reach for a CEO with absolute powers and an advisory board. They built a full governing board of directors. But, Mr. Speaker, we need not travel that far. The answers are closer to home. The warnings are in our neighborhood. When Hurricane Dorian swept through the Bahamas in September 2019, a Category 5 storm, the strongest ever to make direct landfall in that nation, the Bahamian government did not reach for a CEO with absolute powers and an advisory board. They built a full governing board of directors with legally bound fiduciary duties. The Disaster Reconstruction Authority Act of 2019 established a separate chairman, a vice chairman, a managing director, not one omnipotent executive answerable to only a prime minister, but a board with duties, with power, with accountability baked into the law itself. The Bahamas did not trust their reconstruction to one man. They trusted it to a board. And yet, this government asks that Jamaica trust ours to one man with no board. On procurement, the very area this bill defers to, with a ministerial order after it passes. The Bahamians wrote the obligation directly into their law. All contracts awarded within a fiscal year must be publicly disclosed. Their audited accounts had to reach the minister within 3 months of the financial year end. But, Mr. Speaker, even with all of that, the Bahamas still had a scandal. Their forensic audit revealed extreme executive salaries with no basis in performance, companies billing the government for work that that they can't prove, and contractors without submitting evidence of a single day's work done, $20 million spent on debris management with non-compliant contractors. The Bahamas had stronger oversight and still fell apart.
Mighty
and
God.
Jamaica, through this government, wants us with weaker oversight to stand with them. Cannot work. The logic does not hold. The math does not add up, and the people will pay the price.
Dearly. What you mean?
And then, Mr. Speaker, we look at Haiti. When the earthquake of 2010 killed 200. Mr. Speaker, I am begging protection from Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets. When the earthquake of 2010 killed 230,000 people, the Interim Haiti Recovery Commission was co-chaired by the Haitian Prime Minister and Bill Clinton. Voting seats went to the legislature, the judiciary, trade unions, business, diaspora, civil society. They had more governance than NARA in every measurable way. Haiti had every governance structure that this bill refuses to create, and the reconstruction still fails. Jamaica is refusing to create these structures, and we are promising that it will succeed. The lesson from both our neighbors is the same. Elaborate governance does not automatically guarantee success, but the absence of governance guarantees failure.
Guarantee. One Dr. does. Mighty God. What a rebuttal.
We are not saying that good governance will save us, but we are saying that bad governance will certainly destroy us. Madam, Mr. Speaker, let me go into an area that my colleagues on the other side would prefer I leave unspoken. The question at the heart of this debate is not merely about governance models. It is about trust.
Exactly.
And trust must be earned before it is given.
The general. That is
you cannot legislate
trust
into existence when it has been betrayed
so many times. Oh my God. One Dr. does. That is it, Mr. General.
They're not asking us to trust the system.
They're asking
us to trust them.
Exactly. And we not trust them. We not trust them, Dr. does. What kind of advertisement is the man in gone pan? Violation.
Are we to believe, are Jamaicans to believe that the government that closed the corner shops during COVID while big supermarkets
were open? Yes.
Will now protect the small local?
No, we can't. We not trust them.
Are we to believe
we not trust them
that the government that arrested ordinary Jamaicans on the streets for breaching curfew while their very own toasted at Uptown parties
one shower labor rate? Yes.
Will now apply rules to all?
Must they make Dr. Das? Them, someone that did it in the parliament. Yo, Dr. Das still like me. Someone that rub them out. Oh, if you trust them. Can't trust them.
That the government that spent a decade
can't trust them.
While the side roads of every constituency develop potholes wide enough and deep enough to swallow a vehicle, will now prioritize communities that the highways don't reach.
Mighty God.
Mr. Speaker, are we expected to believe that the government that allowed money to be extracted from the Ministry of Health, overpriced contracts, and well-connected companies,
dare
I say sweetheart deals, while patients slept on chairs in corridors and died waiting for tests to be done, will suddenly become responsible stewards of public health funds?
No.
Are we to believe that the government that fought with all its might not to pay doctors, nurses, teachers, civil servants what they deserve, while raising their salaries by 200%, will now put the needs of the people above the interests of the powerful?
Can't believe that.
They could not find the money to pay pay the nurse who saves lives. They found the money to pay themselves. But now they want us to believe that they will use $2 trillion to save the lives of the people the nurses serve. Mr. Speaker, Naira in its present form is rubbing butter a puss mouth.
Straight up. Straight up. Straight up, Dr. Dog. No pretty nothing.
I say that without apology because the people watching these debates understand exactly what this means.
Of course.
It means do not give something precious and powerful to someone who has repeatedly showing you that they will abuse it.
Yes.
And it means if you do not pretend you did not know
What is going to happen? Yes.
We are not being asked to give Naira power and hope for the best. We are being asked to strip Naira of accountability and pretend nothing will go wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, let us examine precisely what this bill creates at its center. One CEO appointed directly by the Prime Minister. No merit-based selection requirement in the bill. No independent vetting. No governing board with fiduciary duties. An advisory board only with no power to override. No power to dismiss. No power to compel.
Mighty
They call
God.
it an advisory board. But advice without authority is not governance.
Yes.
It is sackings.
That is it.
This CEO, this Caesar, will exercise authority over nearly 2 trillion Jamaican dollars. He
Wow.
will select his own auditor annually, subject
Wow.
only to the approval
Say
of the
for we had
cabinet
deal with.
secretary, who serves the same cabinet that appointed Caesar in the first place.
Madness.
So, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister appoints the CEO. The CEO selects the auditor. The Cabinet Secretary approves the auditor. The Cabinet Secretary serves the Prime Minister. This is not a circle of accountability. This is circling the wagon.
TV from across the room with the same pair of glasses.
Yes, have to pay for it, for their defense. They have criminalized speaking the truth about Naira, and they have indemnified those who abuse it.
Yes.
The watchdog has been muzzled, the fox has been released, and the chicken coop is guarded by a CEO who may or may not love fried chicken.
Mighty God. Criminal them, man. Criminal them, general.
Mr. Speaker, Lord Acton warned us, power corrupts. And
Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
This
That is
government
it.
is not merely ignoring that warning. They
That
are
is it, my
writing
boss.
it into law and calling it efficiency.
My God.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister announced that Naira will build a new Kingston Public Hospital, and we always welcome that. But he also announced a new government campus at National Hero Circle. And I have a simple question for this honorable house. Why is this government building a new home for itself when the people who elected it are still without a home?
Wow. That's embarrassing.
The new Parliament building, the new government campus, the new KPH, these were on government wish lists long before Hurricane Melissa arrived. Which is why we ask again, is Melissa this the answer to the prayers of the government? Melissa did not create these ambitions. Melissa created the financing to pay for these ambitions.
Yes.
Financing that future generations of Jamaicans will have to repay with interest.
Facts.
The storm destroyed the people's homes, and the government is using the money collected and meant to rebuild those homes to build their own legacy project and home. For 10 years, 10 consecutive years, every major hospital in Western Jamaica has crumbled under the weight of the Cornwall regional debacle. Patients from Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth and Hanover traveled all the way to Kingston because the regional hospital could not serve them. And for 10 years, this government did nothing sufficient. Now Melissa has come. Now there is Melissa money. And what rises to the top of the project list? The government campus, the parliament building. For 10 years, they could not find the money to fix the hospital that serves the West. Now they have found the money and they're spending it on the East. The people who suffer the most are the last in line.
Mighty God.
Relax, Rose. Wait. Rose. East, Kingston. Priorities. Rose of all the people interrupting me. And who decides? The bill is explicit. The cabinet shall cause to be issued the authority and official list of approved projects. NARA cannot even originate its own project list. Every comparable reconstruction body in the world, in the Bahamas, in Haiti, was empowered to identify and originate projects. NARA must wait to be told what to do.
Mighty God.
The authority has all the power to build, but it has no power to decide what to build. The power to execute is given to NARA. The power to direct is kept by the cabinet. This is not delegation. This is subcontracting corruption. If the Prime Minister decides that the new Parliament building is a reconstruction and resilience project, it goes on the list and NARA builds it with your money, without a board to question it, without a parliamentary vote on procurement, without an Auditor General review. Mr. Speaker, let me speak to what is truly at stake. Then raise a point of order. It's an internal auditor for 1 year. Mr. Speaker, let me speak to what is truly at stake. Because this is not a debate about institutional design. This is a debate about the future of Jamaica.
That's right.
The destructive force of Hurricane Melissa can be a blessing in disguise if the short-term pain unlocks the long-term transformation of this country. $2 trillion, the largest injection of capital into this economy in our history. This could solve the age-old problems that have plagued ordinary Jamaicans for generations. It is not the magnitude of the storm that defines a disaster. It is the nation's response to the disaster of the storm. Let us not make this crisis go to waste in building a better Jamaica. We could build roads that do not flood every season, drains that channel water rather than carry away communities, government buildings that do not shame the people who work in them, houses that are designed for Jamaicans to live in with dignity, not relics of an era before black Jamaicans were smaddified. We have the money to build a new Jamaica, but we are choosing the governance structures of the old plantocracy. Instead of heeding 28 civil society organizations, instead of heeding 29 members, ICU member, 29 members of parliament, instead of heeding the joint submission of Jamaicans for Justice and the Jamaica Environment Trust, this government presses forward.
Yeah, Watson, big up.
The Auditor General, even before this bill has even passed, has already launched a Hurricane Melissa Relief Governance Audit because the patterns of mismanagement were already present. They're visible in the early relief response.
Talk truth, no man.
The Auditor General is already auditing the relief. And this government is passing a law to keep scrutiny away from the reconstruction. They have seen the scrutiny coming.
Yo, Mr. The man on point. Yo, this is the best rebuttal I have heard so far.
When, God forbid, the predicted devastating earthquake strikes, or when the next killer storm comes to this beloved island. We are not building back better. We are building forward worse. But this time, with $2 trillion to accelerate the next collapse. Worse. Madam, Mr. Speaker, they may pass this bill today. You have the numbers. You may ignore the 28 civil society groups. You may dismiss the 29 MPs who have expressed concerns about this bill. You may look past the Bahamian forensic audit, the Haitian failure, the Auditor General's work already in the public domain, your own scandals. You have the power to pass this bill today, but the people have the power to judge you tomorrow. When the people who are suffering from the hurricane,
what did I tell you earlier?
you don't talk,
Bad
you are the Casanova of sweetheart deals.
I tell you, man.
The Casanova of sweetheart deals. When the people who are suffering from the hurricane that passed 6 months ago and now face another hurricane season in 6 weeks, when they realize what was done here today, you will never be forgiven. So let my words go down in prophecy. This day will be remembered as the beginning of the end of this government. Because the mother in Maroon Town shall remember. The daughter in Darliston shall remember. The baby in Black River shall remember. The pensioner in Portmore shall remember. They will remember the future you stole from them. They will remember the better health care you removed from them. They will remember the hope that they lost on this day. History does not remember those who had power. It remembers those who use the power for the benefit of the powerless. This government will be remembered, but I promise you, not for the reason you imagine. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
What? Yeah, take the mix up.
Member from St. Ann Southeastern, you now have the floor. Member from Southeast St. Ann, you now have the floor.
Why? Jamaica? This is a power. No, I have to play that back. I'm sorry. No, sorry. No, I have to play that back. No, Dr. Alfred does differently. I'm not telling no lie. These are the most powerful speech me see. All this money a waste of time. Donovan Williams, you shouldn't be there in parliament. Let me fast forward this. After what Rosie say, man, you're a joker. I don't want to hear nothing from you. All on our criminal. Everyone out there support this ability criminal. Watch out. You know what I'm saying when I go in the parliament like my smarty? All criminal them in the man.
They want to believe that this parliament subscribes to
Rosie read out in the file in the man.
rather than the dogmatic entrenchment of partisan positions. That we understand that our positions are not
only a million
truths, they are probabilities. And through honest debate, through the examination of evidence, we update these probabilities. We move closer to what is right, closer to what works, closer to what the people need.
My God.
We did not come to Parliament to win arguments.
No.
We came to Parliament to win a future for the people.
Of course.
And Mr. Speaker, if there was ever a moment that demanded that approach from this chamber, it is now. Hurricane Melissa was the worst disaster to strike this nation in a generation. The assessed damage, over 12 billion US dollars. The people of Western Jamaica, the mother in Maroon Town, the fisherman in Black River, the farmer in Darliston, the child in Falmouth, they are not waiting for us to be right. They are waiting for us to get it right.
That is it. That is it.
And being right, Mr. Speaker, and getting it right are not always the same. If we are genuine servant leaders, not merely in title but in practice, then I beg this honorable House, examine the evidence, weigh it honestly, update your positions so that the bill we pass today into law will secure the present of the people who sent us here and the future of the children and grandchildren they are raising in rubble. We were not sent here by the powerful to protect the powerful. We were sent here by the powerless to protect them from the powerful.
That is it. That is it.
Mr. Speaker, the man in the streets watching these debates is asking one question. What is NARA? The superficial answer is that NARA is a reconstruction body. But the question is not what NARA is. The question is what NARA is for. Is NARA the answer to the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa? Or was Hurricane Melissa the answer to this government's long and deliberate march towards authoritarianism and absolutism? Because, Mr. Speaker, the bill before us does not give power to the people to rebuild their country. It takes power from the people and gives it to one man, accountable to one minister, anointed by one prime minister. What is proposed here today is a bill that entrenches this government's long-held desire to concentrate power and resources into the hands of a few and to castrate the state agencies and civil servants whose constitutional roles are to act as watchdogs over every taxpayer dollar. Mr. Speaker, I have searched the Caribbean, the Americas, the globe for a reconstruction body with a similar oversight and accountability framework. I did not find a better model that Jamaica ignored. I found that Jamaica invented the worst model
ever.
I am convinced that this government has designed the weakest governance model for a disaster reconstruction authority that has ever been assembled by a modern democracy. A model.
You can buy this home for $3.5 million.
I don't want to hear that, brother.
Priceless. Come take a look.
No, I can't. Never play that back.
For a reconstruction body with a similar oversight and accountability framework. I did not find a better model that Jamaica ignored. I found that Jamaica invented the worst model.
Remember, I light on turn on.
I am convinced that this government has designed the weakest governance model for a disaster reconstruction authority that has ever been assembled by a modern democracy. A model destined by its very architecture to be scandal-ridden, destined to fail in the strategic objectives of efficient, resilient, and meaningful reconstruction of the infrastructure and the lives of Jamaican people.
Mighty God.
The Prime Minister spoke of Peru. He carried us thousands of miles across the world to find his cautionary tale. But, Mr. Speaker, we need not travel that far. The answers are closer to home. The warnings are in our neighborhood. When Hurricane Dorian swept through the Bahamas in September 2019, a Category 5 storm, the strongest ever to make direct landfall in that nation, the Bahamian government did not reach for a CEO with absolute powers and an advisory board. They built a full governing board of directors with legally bound fiduciary duties. The Disaster Reconstruction Authority Act of 2019 established a separate chairman, a vice chairman, a managing director, not one omnipotent executive answerable to only a prime minister, but a board with duties, with power, with accountability baked into the law itself. The Bahamas did not trust their reconstruction to one man. They trusted it to a board. And yet, this government asks that Jamaica trust ours to one man with no board. On procurement, the very area this bill defers to, with a ministerial order after it passes, the Bahamians wrote the obligation directly into their law. All contracts awarded within a fiscal year must be publicly disclosed. Their audited accounts had to reach the minister within 3 months of the financial year end. But Mr. Speaker, even with all of that, the Bahamas still had a scandal.
Wow.
Their forensic audit revealed extreme executive.
Yo, this is the most comprehensive rebuttal me hear on the Nara bill. The man I give a real-time example of other countries that had a stronger, or well, this Nara bill not have no guardrails at all. I just a free for all, but he must show you other bill where have a strong, robust, accountability structure about it, and them still did have a scandal. So imagine this one have no accountability whatsoever, and the man can do anything he wants to do. Jamaica talk about leaving the fox in the hen house. All the chickens will be slaughtered. I'm telling you that right now.
Salaries with no basis in performance.
No doubt about
billing
it.
the government for work that they can't prove, and contractors they submit without submitting evidence of a single day's work done. 20 million pounds. The Bahamians wrote the obligation directly into their law. All contracts awarded within a fiscal year must be publicly disclosed.
Yes.
Their audited accounts had to reach the minister within 3 months of the financial year end. But
Even
Mr.
with that.
Speaker, even with all of that, the Bahamas still had a scandal.
Wow.
Their forensic audit revealed extreme executive salaries with no basis in performance, companies billing the government for work that they can't prove, and contractors they submit without submitting evidence of a single day's work done. $20 million spent on debris management with non-compliant contractors. Wow. The Bahamas had stronger oversight and still fell apart. And Jamaica, through this government, wants us with weaker oversight to stand with them. Cannot work. The logic does not hold. The math does not add up. And the people will pay the price.
Watch out.
Stronger oversight and still fell apart.
They not ashamed of watch a criminal them. Watch out.
Wants us with weaker
Aria,
oversight
look at the
to stand
screen.
with them. Cannot work.
Watch out.
The logic does not hold. The
Watch
math
out.
does not add up. And the people will pay the price.
Use car or police car scandal. And him shouldn't even in a parliament hey, me tell you say truth hurt them, Dr. Daz, sir, I salute you. No look a joke. You make me proud, my general. That is the type of speech when me would have deliver in a parliament board a bill. No look a joke. I tell her that. Straight up. Criminal man.
The price. And then, Mr. Speaker, we look at Haiti. When the earthquake of 2010 killed 200. Mr. Speaker, I am begging protection from Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets. When the earthquake of 2010 killed 230,000 people, the Interim Haiti Recovery Commission was
hold on, about the man to give him a talk. What him call him?
200. Mr. Speaker, I am begging protection from Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets. When the earthquake of 2010 killed 230,000 people, the Interim Haiti Recovery Commission was co-chaired by the Haitian Prime Minister and Bill Clinton. Voting seats went to the legislature, the judiciary, trade unions, business, diaspora, civil society. They had more governance than NARA in every measurable way. Haiti had every governance structure that this bill refuses to create. And the reconstruction still fails.
So Haiti even they have one better bill than them. Haiti were just Haiti? No, they should have been ashamed of themselves. If we put this forward and defend this.
Jamaica is refusing to create these structures, and we are promising that it will succeed.
Come on now.
The lesson from both our neighbors is the same. Elaborate governance does not automatically guarantee success, but the absence of governance guarantees failure.
Guarantee.
We on this side are not saying that good governance will save us, but we are saying that bad governance will certainly destroy us. Madam, Mr. Speaker, let me go into an area that my colleagues on the other side would prefer I leave unspoken. The question at the heart of this debate is not merely about governance models. It is about trust. And trust must be earned before it is given.
That part there. Trust must be earned before it is given. What have they done to earn our trust? When I be a secrecy and man a sign paper and then can't talk about this and them something. The bad bag of secrecy. No, brother. We not trust them, bro. We not
You
trust them.
cannot legislate trust
trust them.
into existence when it has been betrayed
So many times. Talk truth.
and
over again. That is it. One
This
Dr.
government is
Alfred
not asking
does.
us to trust the system. They're asking us to
Trust them. That is it.
And those two requests, Mr. Speaker, are very different things.
Of course.
Are we to believe, are Jamaicans to believe, that the government that closed the corner shops during COVID while big supermarkets operated freely will now protect the small local contractor? Are we to believe that the government that arrested ordinary Jamaicans on the streets for breaching curfew while their very own toasted at uptown parties on no movement days will now apply the rules equally to all? Are we to believe that the government that spent a decade building highways while the side roads of every constituency develop potholes wide enough and deep enough to swallow a vehicle will now prioritize communities that the highways don't reach? Mr. Speaker, are we expected to believe that the government that allowed money to be extracted from the Ministry of Health through overpriced contracts and well-connected companies, dare I say sweetheart deals, while patients slept on chairs in corridors and died waiting for tests to be done, will suddenly become responsible stewards of public health funds? Are we to believe that the government that fought with all its might not to pay doctors, nurses, teachers, civil servants what they deserve, while raising their salaries by 200%, will now put the needs of the people above the interests of the powerful? They could not find the money to pay the nurse who saves lives. They found the money to pay themselves. But now they want us to believe that they will use $2 trillion to save the lives of the people the nurses serve.
Yo, it's very hard for me to pause the video because this man is like the perfect rapper. Every line a connecting in your soul. Yo, the man a talk unadulterated truth, brother. Everything when man a say a facts. Everything the man a eat palm pies is irrefutable. Remember say fly grid and jump up in a no movement there show a labor right to remember when no blur not get charged for the on the road. How comes him never get charged? Or DPP never charge him? All of them dead now wearing a mask and a pop more it. You don't know if you forget them something, me tell you all the while. Do not forget these things. Them can't be trusted. Trust what? What's the matter to blows and skirt? I want to know, man.
The nurses serve.
What's the one, man?
Mr. Speaker, Naira in its present form
One
is rubbing butter a puss mouth.
That is it. Granny used to tell you, don't rub butter a puss mouth. Butter done. Let me tell you.
I say this without apology because the people watching these debates understand exactly what this means. It means do not give something precious and powerful to someone who has repeatedly shown you that they will abuse it. And it means if you do not pretend you did not know it would happen.
Of course.
We are not being asked to give Naira power and hope for the best. We are being asked to strip Naira of accountability and pretend nothing will go wrong. Mr. Speaker, let us examine precisely what this bill creates at its center. One CEO, appointed directly by the Prime Minister. No merit-based selection requirement in the bill. No independent vetting. No governing board with fiduciary duties. An advisory board only with no power to override. No power to dismiss. No power to compel. They call it an advisory board. But advice without authority is not governance. It is chattings.
Chattings. Bag of chattings, bro.
This CEO, this Caesar, will exercise authority over nearly 2 trillion Jamaican dollars. He will select his own auditor annually, subject only to the approval of the cabinet secretary, who serves the same cabinet that appointed Caesar in the first place. So, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister appoints the CEO. The CEO selects the auditor. The cabinet secretary approves the auditor. The cabinet secretary serves the Prime Minister. This is not a circle of accountability. This is circling the wagons.
Of course.
for $2 trillion of public funds. This is what we are signing away.
Wow.
We are being asked to spend the money now and account for it later. But later is too late for the people whose money is being spent today.
Of course.
And if you dare to speak about what is happening inside that authority, Section 14 provides criminal penalties of up to $1 million or 1 year in prison for unauthorized disclosure.
Yeah, there.
No express
So,
whistleblower.
$1 million 1 year in a prison? If you talk about what going in an Nara, you can't even talk. Bomba.
Protection clause. None.
Yo. Yeah, move, bro.
We have a sweeping indemnity regime that can cover even criminal proceedings. So they commit a crime and the taxpayers have to pay for it, for their defense. They have criminalized speaking the truth about Nara, and they have indemnified those who abuse it. The watchdog has been muzzled, the fox has been released, and the chicken coop is guarded by a CEO who may or may not love fried chicken.
Oh.
Mr. Speaker, Lord,
Mom, so come on, yeah?
power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Speaker,
One Filipino.
hospital,
Move fast, but no,
a new government campus at National
people all on there, and my son reaching. Boy, Dr. Alfred does I deal with the thing. I left my charger, so I have to go home.
For this honorable house,
Yeah,
why
I'm
is
charger.
this government building a new home for itself where the people who elected it are still without a home?
Hear that? So the man them build one new parliament. Zane, with our money. And the people them down Westmoreland and them the place that even have no roof over their head. Yo, may I tell you say, yo, are the best rebuttal this me hear. All of the rebuttals are great, you know. But these are the best rebuttal me hear from the opposition. In putting the Nara bill into context for the normal man can understand. No joke. No joke.
The new parliament building, the new government campus, the new KPH, these were on government long before Hurricane Melissa arrived. Which is why we ask again, is Melissa the answer to the prayers of the government? Melissa did not create these ambitions. Melissa created the financing to pay for these ambitions. Financing that future generations of Jamaicans will have to pay with interest.
Sorry about that, people. Hold on, I don't know how long more I just got. Come here and say, yo, who could I not do them, my brother? Hear me, I say, though. Right now, Dr. Alfred does a lead people. I'm not telling no lie. Done a lead.
Destroy the people's homes, and the government is using the money collected and meant to rebuild those homes to build their own legacy project and home.
Mighty God.
For 10 years, 10 consecutive years, every major hospital in Western Jamaica has crumbled under the weight of the Cornwall regional debacle. Patients from Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth and Hanover traveled all the way to Kingston because their regional hospital could not serve them. And for 10 years, this government did nothing sufficient. Now Melissa has come. Now there is Melissa money. And what rises to the top of the project list? The government campus, the parliament building. For 10 years, they could not find the money to fix the hospital that serves the West. Now they have found the money and they're spending it on the east.
My
the
God.
people who suffer the most are the last in line. Relax, Rose. Wait. Rose. East, Kingston. Priorities. Rose, of all the people interrupting me. And who decides? The bill is explicit. The cabinet shall cause to be issued the authority and official list of approved projects. NARA cannot even originate its own project list. Every compared reconstruction body in the world, in the Bahamas, in Haiti, was empowered to identify and originate projects. NARA must wait to be told what to do.
People may come here.
The authority has all the power to build, but it has no power to decide what to build. The power to execute is given to NARA. The power to direct is kept by the cabinet. This is not delegation. This is subcontracting corruption. If the Prime Minister decides that the new Parliament building is a reconstruction and resilience project, it goes on the list, and NARA builds it with your money, without a board to question it, without a parliamentary vote on procurement, without an Auditor General review. Mr. Speaker, let me speak to what is truly at stake. Then raise a point of order. It's an internal auditor for 1 year. Mr. Speaker, let me speak to what is truly at stake. Because this is not a debate about institutional. This is a debate about the future of Jamaica. The destructive force of Hurricane Melissa can be a blessing in disguise if the short-term pain unlocks the long-term transformation of this country. $2 trillion, the largest injection of capital into this economy in our history. This could solve the age-old problems that have plagued ordinary Jamaicans for generations. It is not the magnitude of the storm that defines the disaster. It is the nation's response to the disaster of the storm. Let us not make this crisis go to waste in building a better Jamaica. We could build roads that do not flood every season, drains that channel water rather than carry away communities, government buildings that do not shame the people who work in them, houses that are designed for Jamaicans to live in with an era before black Jamaicans were smaddified. We have the money to build a new Jamaica, but we are choosing the governance structures of the old plantocracy. Instead of heeding 28 civil society organizations, instead of heeding 29 members, ICU member, 29 members of parliament,
right.
Instead of heeding the joint submission of Jamaicans for Justice and the Jamaica Environment Trust, this government presses forward. The Auditor General, even before this bill has even passed, has already launched a Hurricane Melissa Relief Governance Audit because the patterns of mismanagement were already present. They're visible in the early relief response. The Auditor General is already auditing the relief, and this government is passing a law to keep scrutiny away from the reconstruction. They have seen the scrutiny coming, and they are legislating it away. We are not building the NARA that Jamaica needs. We are building the conditions that will require another NARA when, God forbid, the predicted devastating earthquake strikes, or when the next killer storm comes to this beloved island. We are not building back better, we are building forward worse. But this time, with $2 trillion to accelerate the next collapse. Worse. Madam, Mr. Speaker, they may pass this bill today. You have the numbers. You may ignore the 28 civil society groups. You may dismiss the 29 MPs who have expressed concerns about this bill. You may look past the Bahamian forensic audit, the Haitian failure, the Auditor General's work already in the public domain, your own scandals. You have the power to pass this bill today, but the people have the power to judge you tomorrow.
Hold them back to dance, mighty God.
When the people who are suffering from the hurricane, you don't talk, you are the Casanova of sweetheart deals. The Casanova of sweetheart deals. When the people who are suffering from the hurricane that passed 6 months ago and now face another hurricane season in 6 weeks, when they realize what was done here today, you will never be forgiven. So let's go down in prophecy. This day will be remembered at the beginning of the end of this government. Because the mother in Maruto shall remember. The daughter in Darlistan shall remember. The baby in Black River shall remember. The pensioner in remember those who had power. It remembers those who used the power for the benefit of the powerless. This government will be remembered, but I promise you, not for the reason you imagine. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Member from Centre and Southeastern, you now have the floor. Member from Southeast, St. Anne, you now have the floor.
Wow. Jamaica. Why? No, sir. Yo. I feel so proud of the People's National Party, man. I am so proud of them standing up for the people so strong. Very, very proud of the People's National Party. Not tell no lie. My proud bag boss. Like and share the video, guys. My proud bag boss. Proud bag boss. Big time. This is representation. Yeah. This is our representation. Proud bag boss, man.
Mr. Speaker, we are indeed discussing and debating a legislation that has far-reaching implications. We are doing this, we are here having this conversation because of what Hurricane Melissa revealed. It revealed the fragility of our housing, the weakness of our infrastructure, and the reality that too many Jamaicans are living one shock away from losing everything.
Everything.
Homes destroyed, businesses devastated, roads washed out, families forced to split up because basic systems failed.
We're not in place,
Mr. Speaker, the hurricane didn't create these conditions.
They were there.
It revealed them.
Yes.
And like the hurricane, this bill forces us to answer a critical question about our country.
Yes.
The question was asked in Steerfield, St. Anne, last week.
Yes.
After the killing of 2 young men by the police.
Yes.
It is being asked by families still waiting to rebuild. It is being asked by young people trying to find work and trying to figure out their futures.
Yes.
The question, Mr. Speaker, what kind of country are we living in?
Mighty God.
Mr. Speaker, this is not a question to express frustration. It's a question about how power is exercised in this country.
Yes.
Are systems working or are systems being bypassed? Are citizens participants or bystanders, waiting, sitting in limbo?
Yes.
We cannot examine this bill, Mr. Speaker, without answering this question.
Yes.
The issue is not whether we should rebuild quickly. Actually, we must, at a pace and at a scale like we've never seen before.
Yes.
The issue is how do we rebuild?
Right.
Do we rebuild through the systems or around the system? Because Jamaica does not need only one part of Jamaica working.
No, it needs all of it.
System.
Yes.
Not one authority delivering.
Mighty God.
Agencies and communities
My
working.
God.
This bill does none of that. This bill is focused on building concentration. Concentration of power, and concentration of power in a way that does not have any accountability attached to it. What Jamaica needs, Mr. Speaker, it needs embedding engagement and empowerment.
Yes.
Embedding the strengthening of what allows for the strengthening of what exists. Engagement allows for the involvement of people, and empowerment allows us to enable action where people live. If the system is broken, Mr. Speaker, creating one powerful authority
unlocks the long-term transformation of this country. $2 trillion, the largest injection of capital into this economy in our history.
Yes.
This could solve the age-old problems that have plagued ordinary Jamaicans for generations.
Yes.
It is not the magnitude of the storm that defines a disaster. It is a nation's response to the disaster of the storm.
Correct.
Let us not make this crisis go to waste in building a better Jamaica. We could build roads that do not flood every season.
Yes.
Drains that channel water rather than carry away communities.
Right.
Government buildings that do not shame the people who work in them. Jamaicans to live in with dignity, not relics of an era before black Jamaicans were smadified. We have the money to build a new Jamaica, but we are choosing the governance structures of the old plantocracy. Instead of heeding 28 civil society organizations, instead of heeding 29 members, I see you member, 29 members of parliament, instead of heeding the joint submission of Jamaicans for Justice and the Jamaica Environment Trust, this government presses forward. The Auditor General, even before this bill has even passed, has already launched a Hurricane Melissa Relief Governance Audit. Because the patterns of mismanagement are already present. They're visible in the early relief response.
That's right.
The Auditor General is already auditing the relief. And this government is passing a law to keep scrutiny away from the reconstruction.
That's right.
They have seen the scrutiny coming, and they're legislating it away.
Mighty God.
We are not building the Naira that Jamaica needs.
Yes.
We are building the conditions that will require another Naira when, God forbid, the predicted devastating earthquake strikes, or when the next killer storm comes to this beloved island. We are not building back better. We are building forward worse. But this time, with $2 trillion to accelerate the next collapse. Worse. Madam, Mr. Speaker, they may pass this bill today. You have the numbers. You may ignore the 28 civil society groups. You may dismiss the 29 MPs who have expressed concerns about this bill. You may look past the Bahamian forensic audit, the Haitian failure, the Auditor General's work already in the public domain, your own scandals. You have the power to pass this bill today, but the people have the power to judge you tomorrow. When the people who are suffering from the hurricane, you don't talk, you are the Casanova of sweetheart deals. The Casanova of sweetheart deals. When the people who are suffering from the hurricane that passed 6 months ago and now face another hurricane season in 6 weeks, when they realize what was done here today, you will never be forgiven. So let my words go down in prophecy. This day will be remembered as the beginning of the end of this government. Because the mother in Maroon Town shall remember. The daughter in Darliston shall remember. The baby in Black River shall remember. The pensioner in Portmore
shall remember.
They will remember the future you stole from them. They will remember the better health care you removed from them. They will remember the hope that they lost on this day. History does not remember those who had power. It remembers those who use the power for the benefit of the powerless.
Watch a criminal.
This government will be remembered, but I promise you, not for the reason you imagine. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
That is it, Dr. Alfred Das. That is it, my general. That is it. Warm to them. Warm to them. Go this side.
Mr. Speaker, we are indeed discussing and debating a legislation that has far-reaching implications. We are doing this, we are here having this conversation because of what Hurricane Melissa revealed. It revealed the fragility of our housing, the weakness of our infrastructure, and the reality that too many Jamaicans are living one shock away from losing everything.
Mighty God.
Homes destroyed, businesses devastated, roads washed out, families forced to split up because basic systems failed. Mr. Speaker, the hurricane didn't create these conditions.
No, it didn't.
It revealed them. And like the hurricane, this bill forces us to answer a critical question about our country.
Quite so.
The question was asked in Steerfield, St. Anne last week after the killing of 2 young men by the police. It is being asked by families still waiting to rebuild. It is being asked by young people trying to find work and trying to figure out their futures. The question, Mr. Speaker, what kind of country are we living in?
That is it.
Mr. Speaker, this is not a question to express frustration. It's a question about...
one last time in a place now, want me bononos. Big up yourself. Bless up everybody upon the line. Me say the PMP, I rub them out with facts. I rub them say, hey, Dr. Das coming like a Marcus Garvey in the evening. Hey, me say me feel fired up right now. Me did have to go live. No, sir, Samuel, where you going with?
About how power is exercised in this country.
Yes.
Are systems working or are systems being bypassed? Are citizens participants or bystanders waiting, sitting in limbo?
Yes.
We cannot examine this bill, Mr. Speaker, without answering this question.
Exactly.
The issue is not whether we should rebuild
Move fast.
Actually, we must.
Yes.
At a pace and at a scale like we've never seen before.
Yes.
The issue is how do we rebuild?
Yes.
Do we rebuild through the systems or around the system? Because Jamaica does not need only one part of Jamaica working.
No.
Jamaica needs entire system.
Entire system.
Not one authority delivering, but ministries, agencies, and communities working together.
That's right.
This bill does none of that.
Mighty God.
This bill is focused on building.
Hey, me say last some, Dr. Das, Jesus and peace. Me say my whole soul feel uplifted when Dr. Das, hey, me go play the last part. You know, see how the voice run off him out. And I tell him, go. Hey, me say it burn them, it burn the criminal them over Jamaica Labour Party. I want them a ball out, you know. All that criminal them in the Jamaica Labour Party are ball out today. When Dr. Das attack, you just watch back and see who are criminal them. I don't have a say no. All of them are ball out. Concentration
of power, and concentration of power in a way that does not have any accountability attached to it. What Jamaica needs, Mr. Speaker, it needs embedding, engagement, and empowerment.
Yes.
Embedding the strengthening of what allows for the strengthening of what exists. Engagement allows for the involvement of people. And empowerment allows us to enable action where people live. If the system is broken, Mr. Speaker, creating one powerful authority does not fix it.
No.
It works around it.
Yes.
It undermines it.
Yes.
It makes matters worse.
Yes.
And I'm not talking here theoretical. I'm speaking based on the evidence. You look at the writings from the UN and it says true resilience depends on strengthening institutions,
yes,
local governance,
yes,
and participation.
My God, me like that. You see how you reference the standards, the international standards about resilience. Me could play that back. All of the PMP them, no,
I'm
not
not talking here theoretical. I'm speaking based on the evidence. You look at the writings from the UN and it says true resilience depends on strengthening institutions, local governance, and participation. The World Bank goes further. It says where recovery is embedded, systems improve, capacities grow, and countries get stronger. However, where recovery efforts bypass national systems, projects are delivered, but systems remain weak and failure returns. Mr. Speaker, let us look at two examples. Indonesia. After the tsunami, Indonesia created a powerful reconstruction authority in Aceh. It had control, it had funding, it had speed. And yes, they built some houses, some roads, some infrastructure at scale. But Mr. Speaker, it operated outside the normal system. Ministries were bypassed, local capacity was not built. And when the authority ended, guess what? The system was left behind. Everything collapsed.
Wow.
The system was still weak. Projects slowed down, coordination weakened, and the country had to rebuild its systems after rebuilding its infrastructure.
No, Jamaica, that is an excellent point. Marjorie, how you doing? That is an excellent point. Unfortunate truth, say, Andrew, God control the people of Jamaica and you're not getting power to destroy Jamaica. People to be your footstool. Only the eyes to behold see the reward of the wicked. Amen, amen, and amen. The two the two of them from St. Mary. He lost some. The two of them from St. Mary heated. And all dirty tough that come talk about, oh, this is just politics and one bag of something. Go away. Tough than your germs. You know, you're wicked. Hey, me say, God, I got deal with you, see, man. Hey, me say, God, I got deal with them, I say. Hey, I don't even know.
Second example comes from New Zealand. After the earthquake in Christchurch. Similarly, it created a central authority with sweeping powers.
Yes, sir. Go back.
Our system was left behind.
So you talk about a bigger country now where had a bigger disaster. And them basically have them own NARA, and then the whole system was left behind. Basically what the man is saying is this: resilience big up. A long time I say you're good, you're not getting no notification. Alright, so you are going on resilience. You need to make sure say you join my WhatsApp group or you join my WhatsApp channel. Because I know my day ones are not getting any notification. I know. Trust me, I know. You understand? Let me see right now. Let me turn off this. Yeah. Alright. So let me just drop. Let me drop it in the chat. So me have BOLO V&R clips, you can join any one of them. Or join all 3 links on me I drop right now. Everybody click those links and join them. So you no matter where I post, whether whether BOLO V&R clips or BOLO V&R 2.0, you're going to get that. You're going to get the notification, alright? My God. DAMIAN CRAWFORD. DAMIAN CRAWFORD thing on one different thing then. DAMIAN CRAWFORD not deal with education, but oh gosh man. What an A. I said that today labor right then can't man it. Like it's too much. It's too much. Everything come down on them today. That's why they don't have trouble with PMP. Give them the chance to do what they might do. You understand? You know, this is the reason why the Speaker of the House was saying in the previous thing, say she not guarantee so the PMP them all get them chance to talk. Who you to?
Everything collapsed.
Who you?
The system was still weak. Project slowed down, coordination weakened, and the country had to rebuild its systems after rebuilding its infrastructure. The second example comes from New Zealand. After the earthquake in Christchurch. Similarly, it created a central authority with sweeping powers. It could override local government, it could fast-track decisions, and yes, it moved quickly. But communities were sidelined, local voices were weakened. People began to realize that decisions were being made about them without them.
Exactly. That's what's happening now.
Trust declined.
Of course.
Plans had to be revised, and participation had to be reintroduced. So, Mr. Speaker, in Indonesia, they built fast, but did not build the system. In Christchurch, they moved fast, but they left people out. And in both cases, something essential was lost. The fact that countries that build systems recover. Countries that bypass their systems are doomed to repeat their failure.
Mighty God.
Mr. Speaker,
God.
let's put that another way. Speed without system is deferred collapse.
Yes.
Because it's not a matter of if. If the systems are not in place, failure is certain.
Inevitable.
Speed without systems is deferred collapse.
That is it.
Now, Mr. Speaker, this bill creates an authority that can act, direct, and override. It is a super authority. It is a supernova. Oh, sorry, a super NARA. A super NARA. And yes, as we see elsewhere, it will get things done. It will build.
Porn addiction turns high.
Hey, me appreciate the contribution of Mr. Kenneth Russell so far. Dr. Kenneth Russell.
Things. It is not designed to change how things are done. But
Yeah.
imagine, Mr. Steve, but it will not transform.
Yes.
Because it is designed to do things. It is not designed to change how things are done.
My God.
But imagine, Mr. Speaker, imagine a NARA embedded in the system, cutting through delays, clearing bottlenecks, forcing coordination, modernizing processes and legislation, not replacing the system, Mr. Speaker, but making the system work. Mr. Speaker, that is transformation in practice.
That is it. That is it.
One of the most telling things about this bill, Mr. Speaker, is what is missing. Well, a lot is missing. But let me talk about two things which are missing.
Yo! You might have to retract that. Yo, the general have retract that. Yo, the general have retract that.
What can go so?
Yo, Jaja.
The most telling things about this bill, Mr. Speaker, is what is missing. Well, a lot is missing. But let me talk about two things which are missing.
Yes.
One is structured participation by the people. The other is the implications for rural Jamaica. So while the bill aims to rebuild communities, it excludes the communities from decision making. This is not a policy flaw. This is failure to understand and appreciate this critical tenet of democracy, the people's voice.
The people's voice, yes.
Mr. Speaker, the bill provides for consultation with relevant persons, but it does not define who they are, how consultation should occur, or how long it must last.
Blanket statement.
And yet, the authority may even affect zoning, land use. How do you do that without getting input from the people who are affected?
Wow. Wow.
So, Mr. Speaker, imagine a clause with language that speaks to ensuring that all major reconstruction and resilience projects and any material changes to land use or zoning are subject to public consultation prior to approval. Or language that require a notice of proposed projects and programs to be published in the Gazette, or a minimum consultation period which must be observed. I don't think this is asking too much. The people deserve to have a say in this legislation.
Of course.
Now, the other area which is invisible is the treatment of rural Jamaica. When the hurricane passed, it revealed farm roads that were never properly maintained, drainage systems that had long outlived their usefulness, communities served by roads that were always one rainfall away from isolation. Mr. Speaker, this bill does nothing about these things. It does nothing about the roofs that blow off in Coombs and Cowley. It does nothing about the informal settlements across the country in places like Pine Walk and Parrytown, or the embankments that broke away in various parts of the country. So, Mr. Speaker, this is not accidental. It is the result of a development model that centralizes decision-making, prioritizes large, visible investments, and treats rural communities as secondary. And this bill repeats the errors of the past and will condemn rural communities to failure as they've always been. Because, Mr. Speaker, what is invisible in design will not be visible in the outcome.
In practice, right.
The bill, therefore, should include provisions to address equity and inclusion in development. The authority, for example, could be required to ensure that reconstruction and resilience efforts prioritize vulnerable and underserved communities. The authority could also be required to allocate a defined portion of resources to rural and vulnerable communities, and ensure representation of rural stakeholders in planning and decision making. Mr. Speaker, if we do, remember what we've always done, we will get the results we've always done. This is a chance to do things differently. And if we don't, Mr. Speaker, rural Jamaica will remain underserved, underprioritized, and unseen. And I go further, Mr. Speaker, because when you have the authority that is currently being vested in the NARA, it will also mean that the small projects that benefit rural communities will be sidelined. Mr. Speaker, I turn to the issue of transformation. The bill speaks of transformation in the objects, and we support that. It speaks of it, but it does not show how it will deliver it. Transformation requires stronger institutions. Transformation requires better systems. Transformation requires inclusive governance. What this bill does is that it promises faster execution and centralized control. It accelerates delivery, but leaves the system unchanged. Mr. Speaker, it is not accidental. It's a design flaw. It is a flawed approach. it is an approach which must be revisited. You cannot build resilience by curtailing systems. Even if you build infrastructure and the systems are not in place, as I said earlier, you're doomed to fail. Mr. Speaker, the bill states that the authority shall prepare, implement, and oversee projects, and may do anything necessary. But nowhere does it require the authority to strengthen institutions, reform systems, or leave behind a lasting capacity to carry the work forward. One of the most difficult things with these institutional arrangements, Mr. Speaker, is that it's difficult to transition. When you have all the power and the resources that are now being vested in NARA, it's almost impossible to transition to the ministries and the agencies. And so that is why the bill must make the provisions to embed the authority, not to create a separate entity, but to ensure it works through the existing system.
So basically what I must say is that the bill should be enhancing the speed in which those authorities that are already existing work. It should not circumvent the actual authority itself and make its own new rules then. Because the safeguards are important. It's just an increase in efficiency I would want and effectiveness. You see?
To move from an execution mandate to a transformation mandate, consideration should be given to language along these lines. That the authority should prioritize the strengthening of existing government institutions, systems, and processes to ensure long-term resilience. And that it should also identify and eliminate inefficiencies in approval and implementation processes. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want the system to get better. We want, after NARA, we function as if NARA was in every agency, in every ministry. Mr. Speaker, I asked the question earlier on. What kind of country are we living in? It's a question from Steerfield. It's a question from our young people. But we must also ask ourselves this evening, what kind of country do we want to live in?
Yes.
A country where power is centralized, a country where citizens are excluded, where accountability is selective, or one where systems are strong, where people are included, where the future is secure. Mr. Speaker, if we rebuild without fixing the system, we are not building resilience. We are rebuilding vulnerability. And so, Mr. Speaker, I have only one request left. Let's send this bill where it belongs. Let's send it where it belongs, to a joint select committee, because we know it can be much better than what is presented here. I thank you.
Big up yourself, Mr. Oh, wonderful. A she next. Queen of the South. I have to hear from you, Mama. No, look at Joe.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to speak on this. It would be a dereliction of duty and a breach of the promise that I made to the people of South St. James if I did not speak on a bill of this magnitude.
Yes.
One which the Prime Minister himself described as amongst the most consequential pieces of legislation to come before the country in recent times. So for me, this is not abstract. If I remain silent, I would dishonor the 9 lives lost in South St. James during Hurricane Melissa. The homes destroyed, the businesses disrupted, the livelihoods affected, and the children who are still traumatized, still without normalcy, still waiting for life to stabilize. So today, I do not come with theory. We have heard the data from the government ministers. We have heard the estimates. We have heard the scale of the damage as they see it from drones or from their living rooms. But today, I speak from what those numbers do not show. I speak from lived experience, from communities that are still recovering, still rebuilding, still waiting, and still nowhere near that resurgence and resilience that the government is advancing in their newest slogan. In South St. James, that reality is not abstract. It is in Springmount, where the main access road remains a daily challenge for residents trying to get into Montego Bay. It is along the Hampton to Gutters corridor, where people must navigate sections of a narrow one-lane road with a precipice bordering it, unsafe and unforgiving. If you slip, you slide.
Whoa.
It is in Garland's Maroon Town Bickersteth, where families are still trying to stabilize their living conditions. People still live under tarpaulin. And I'm not saying they're living under a structure covered by tarpaulin no more. It is in Niagara, Cambridge and Stonehenge, where residents are still struggling with housing repairs, basic infrastructure, and in many cases are still not captured by the government's assistance database. No roof for them under roof. And it is in communities like Roehampton, Johnson Common, Johnson, where the question is not policy, but when help will finally reach. But let me say clearly, I support the need for faster reconstruction. I support coordination.
You know, Dr. Nathan Campbell said something in a film speech. You know? The man said this bill don't provide for those people when they get no assistance from the rules program. You know? Because when my man named Colonel Charles Jr. come up and say, nobody said that the rules program would help everybody. And the man said, yes, we never. That's not the argument. The argument is this. Why Black Loki big up? Hey man, listen. We need all the sparkling stuff on the screen to make it look like the 4th of July. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm saying nobody is saying that this particular roof program would assist everybody. But the man is saying so many people have not been assisted, right? You would think that the next phase would include this program that they're selling us now, right? The NARA. You think NARA doesn't have anything in it to help those people, you know? You know, have nothing in it to help them people. And that's why Dr. Dawes said what he said about them finding the money for their wish list to build a new parliament. People don't have any house, Jamaica, but the House of Parliament looking to build a new house. Let me say that again. People, regular Jamaican citizens, don't have any house, you know, because of Hurricane Melissa, you know. Lost it. It's not like they're not ambitious. It's not like that they didn't have anything. They had something and a natural disaster destroyed it. And from that natural disaster, our tax dollars, right, helped us to have access to certain amount of money. And these guys are planning to build a new House of Parliament and not build. But listen, man, last some say, them know the bill are gonna benefit them. That's why them are push it. Yes, and them some bare face. You know see how such man present today, Daryl Vaz, and what they are never present in a parliament. When Philip Paul in a beat and teach him, but he make sure find him answer to the door. Hey, me say, yo, me tell you, man, I am going to be rejoicing in the Lord when God remove them. The whole of the thief them from what I Labour Party. I am going to be rejoicing in the Lord when God move them. I truly don't know, yeah, man. I don't watch and see.
I support removing unnecessary delays. And I say that as a member of Parliament who, within weeks of Hurricane Melissa, was approached by an international donor agency, prepared to assist South St. James in a meaningful way. They wanted to build 25 homes at their own expense. They proposed water sourcing solutions and electricity build-out support for affected communities. I took that proposal through the system, engaging permanent secretaries, ministers, heads of ODPEM. I even enlisted the help of the leader of the opposition to try to get it to move. Months later, that approval has not been granted. 25 residents who could be in homes are held back because of one signature.
What, so why is that? No, I'm going to play that. I never know that. What?
I support removing unnecessary delays. And I say that as a member of Parliament who, within weeks of Hurricane Melissa, was approached by an international donor agency prepared to assist South St. James in a meaningful way. They wanted to build 25 homes at their own expense. They proposed water sourcing solutions and electricity build-out support for affected communities. I took that proposal through the system, engaging permanent secretaries, ministers, heads of ODPEM. I even enlisted the help of the leader of the opposition to try to get it to move. Months later, that approval has not been granted. 25.
No, Jamaica. No. You see? Why me I tell you, hey, they must snipe BNP sit down pan, you know. I we don't know what go on, you know. And then do it for a reason. I give them DJLP rope for hang themselves, you know, because here, anytime the PNP talk, here them are going to sell us some. A politics. Anytime the PNP then talk, them are going to say a politics and oh, them are September 3rd gone already and all them something there. All this nonsense. And I did see him rhetoric idiot. Ugly blouse and skirt, wicked. Christopher Tufton come and chat in a blow in a parliament. Hey, me say me not like them, brother. That you don't even know, you know. Me not like them, bro. Me dislike them, you know. Me dislike them very much, you know. Them wicked to people in Jamaica, you know. Sure.
For removing unnecessary delay. Question is not policy, but when jump on the roof.
Jamaica, you're not gonna believe this. Hear this from Queen of the South, the Keisha Burchell.
Roof. And it is in communities like Rohampton, Johnson Common, Johnson, where the question is not policy, but when help will finally reach. But let me say clearly, I support the need for faster reconstruction.
Yes.
I support coordination.
Yes.
I support removing unnecessary delays.
Yes.
And I say that as a member of parliament who, within weeks of Hurricane Melissa, was approached by an international donor agency.
Yes.
Prepared to assist South St. James in a meaningful way.
Yes.
They wanted to build 25 homes at their own expense.
Yes.
They proposed water sourcing solutions and electricity build-out support for affected communities. I took that proposal through the system, engaging permanent secretaries, ministers, heads of ODPEM. I even enlisted the help of the leader of the opposition to try to get it to move. Months later, that approval has not been granted. 25 residents who could be in homes are held back because of one signature.
So Jamaica, Andrew Holness, I talk about speed and alacrity, and that's why they want this Naira thing and to trust them and all of this. And weeks after the storm, Queen of the South was approached by an entity overseas, a company, to build 25 homes. And I know they don't get the approval. Yeah, let me tell you something, man. The Naira bill is here to serve them. Them are criminal. Anybody will support this Naira bill, a criminal them. I don't trust nobody will support this them not prove not to me ugly tough than I come talk about. Oh, we live in a low trust society, then why? You know give Ben Spunani $85 million worth of contract. No competition, direct contract. Why should we trust you? You're not trustworthy. Why should we trust Andrew Holness? And his statutory declaration cannot be certified. We don't know if he made his money legally. Why should we trust him? Why should we trust a man that carrying the Integrity Commission to court and trying to remove the illicit enrichment part out of it? Why should we trust somebody, an entire government that wanted to remove impeachment from the Constitution? Trust what? You can't give puss butter for carry. You can't leave criminal in your house with all of your jewelry and your money. You can't give criminal a key to your vault. What do you think is gonna happen? We not trust you no. I wanna have to live with that. I want to know how to that. And then wicked here, man.
But supporting, you have a voice. You have a voice. Okay, I've never heard your voice. But supporting speed But supporting speed does not mean accepting the diagnosis without question. Because we are being told that procurement is the problem. That procurement is what is holding back recovery. From where I stand, that is a challenge, but not the biggest challenge we are experiencing.
No.
Is the gap between disaster and relief.
Yes.
When the government wanted Starlink devices, they came into the country quickly, no procurement issue there. There was urgency, there was movement, there was delivery. I got one in a hurricane-ravaged constituency. I gave it to a community. And today, those same devices are the subject of review by the Auditor General.
Yes.
With questions being raised about documentation
Yes.
and proper accounting.
Yes.
So procurement did not slow that down.
No, it did
What
not.
was missing was
accountability. That's right. Hey, Mr. I love that woman, yes, man.
Procurement again. Shelters were activated. People were moved into those shelters. But in too many cases, people were left without adequate food for days after the storm. No
My
pot.
God.
That was not a procurement issue. Food could have been sourced. Food could have been delivered. That was a failure of coordination and management. We saw cases where individuals listed as shelter managers were no longer present. Some dead, some migrate. That's not procurement. That's a systems failure. We saw food packages being distributed through the JDF. And while that distribution moved quickly, it often reached the same individuals repeatedly.
Yes.
While others who were in genuine need remained at the back of the line and
Yes.
waiting. That is not procurement.
Yes.
That is a failure of targeting, coordination, and oversight.
Yes.
The system has shown that it can move. The question is how it moves.
That is it.
Who it reaches.
Yes.
Whether it is accountable when it does.
Yes.
This is not a procurement problem.
Yes.
It's a systems problem. It is a problem of coordination, a problem of follow-through. It is a problem of weak management. And it is a problem of accountability and transparency not being consistently enforced. And if the diagnosis is wrong, then the solution is going to be wrong.
Yes.
What this bill really does, it is against that reality that this bill must be examined. Because when I reviewed it carefully, one thing became clear. Narrow. This is not a narrowly tailored recovery framework. It's not narrow at all. Under Section 25, it extends beyond disaster response.
Yo, me say, if me love, if me love that woman here one more time, she beat and teaching Antonio. No man, the whole like People's National Party, them come out to liberate them.
Structuring, not narrow at all.
No narrow
Under
at all.
Section 25, it extends beyond disaster response into designated strategic investment projects across multiple sectors. So this is not just about rebuilding. This is about restructuring how development decisions are made in this country without guardrails. And when we look at how that structure is designed, three concerns arise. First, under Section 22, 3, and 4, the authority can issue directives and the minister can override decisions of approving entities. What can go so? That is not coordination. That is the replacement of independent decision making. Secondly, under Section 3 and the schedule, there is no independent governing board. Under Section 5, the CEO is appointed by the Prime Minister. Under Section 13, the minister can give binding directions. Power is concentrated, but oversight is weakened. Thirdly, under Section 17 and Section 4, projects are selected and prioritized, but there is no firm guarantee that the hardest hit communities, Moko, Janzal, Flamstead, Tangle River, will come first. We don't know who then go choose. These concerns are not isolated. The opposition has raised them. Civil society has raised them. The media has raised them. Even voices within the government benches have raised them, and I'm not talking about my neighbor in West Central St. James. I'm talking about those on the government benches who pull us aside and say, don't stop fighting, because we can't say nothing for ourselves.
Mighty God! Boy! So you tell me, say, Nikisha Birchell bust out this? So you have labor right out there, over there. We are tug the PNP and I say, yo, please, only no bother Lego disappoint ya. Rub them out because we can't open my mouth. Cheese and peas when play that again. What a bangarang.
Central Century.
Woi, yo, yo, yo. Woi, yo, yo, yo. Woi, yo, yo, yo. Woi, yo. Ballot. Ballot. I say ballot. Ballot. Oh, Zion children.
These concerns are not isolated.
Listen to this.
The opposition has raised them.
Yes.
Civil society has raised
Yes.
them. The media has raised them.
Yes.
Even voices within the government benches have raised them, and I'm not talking about my neighbor in West Central St. James. I'm talking about those on the government benches who pull us aside and said, don't stop fighting because we can't send out the ourselves.
Jesus, please. Oh, God. Oh, God. No. No, me I take some call. Take some call. No more hear from Ono. A long time I hear from some of my dear ones. Resilience, last song. Me I take some call in the evening. Yeah. What a bangarang. Jamaica is a total annihilation of the Nara bill this, you know. Parliament hot. Me love how the PMP them a stand up for you people them. Listen, the JLP I go pass it if they want to pass it, you know. But it needs to be on record where the People's National Party stand. We don't need no sugar coating. We don't need none of that. We need raw, born facts, good argument, solid research, which I have seen. Dr. Dayton Campbell is an excellent point. Enough we need to consider. You know what I need to do? I need to go through everybody's speech and look at the most salient points, right? That connect with the people that they made in those speeches and put it in a one video. Because me I tell you, you know, I'm not normal, you know. I'm not normal, Jamaica. I'm not normal. Hold on, let me just hold on, let me people. I come back to her. Because I have something she said with me, but I definitely have to go. So we have oh see, okay. So all flight green come up and do speech too. Sure. Yes, I tell. Yes, I tell. He might sing to film somehow. Yes, I tell. Waste of time.
In this side are repeating. There's no member on this side who does not support or appreciate the urgency
without permission to do so,
or us to continue. The member from South Trelawney, Madam Speaker, because the last time the member from South Trelawney got up and spoke so passionately in support of a bill, her minister sent that bill to a joint select committee. And I'm very hopeful, based on the passion that he spoke. Madam Speaker, if that bill spoke so passionately, there's no member on this side who does not support or appreciate the urgency of reconstruction. But I can speak with some confidence, Madam Speaker, because the last time the member from South Trelawney got up and spoke so passionately in support of a bill.
Who is the member from South Trelawney? Hold on there. Let me Google that. Amali Malawi Mata? South Trelawney MP. South Trelawney. How Mata people? Omar New listener. Marisa Dalrymple. Oh, so she talk to? Hold on there. So Dalrymple, Mama coach chat? How what she say? Hold on, wait. That way the banga bonga go on and so. No man, something wrong. How when she talk? Oh, see talk? I've got to hear this now, guys. Mr. Monday, me do my research. Yes.
The crowd. I rise this evening to support a bill that puts Jamaica first. I rise this evening because that is the slogan we have. We put Jamaica first. And we don't do that. Allow me to speak, I allowed you. And we do not put Jamaicans first only when we are in election mode. We put Jamaica first when Jamaicans need the help from their government. And as I listened to some of the presentations, and I'm going to quote your last speaker, who said, there are those on the government side who say, don't stop. Let me explain to you that there are those on your side who will not vote Labour, but who have expressed the view that there are times when as parliamentarians we need to stand together for the betterment of this country. And so I want to commend to you all this evening that this is not time to campaign, because the campaign is over. And hold on. And the people of Jamaica have spoken. They have chosen a government, and the government has a prime minister. So when we are speaking about the disaster that Jamaicans face, and I hear presentations that talk about make black people smarty and puss and butter, that is for an election campaign. That is not to address the seriousness of what Jamaicans suffer. I'm going to say to you that only last week, I had to reach out to a minister to help students to be able to take their exams up at the university because their parents have suffered
And Ramsey
tremendous damage under Melissa.
And Ramsey Wagwan. I be a foolish stretch at you. Don't.
And are unable to pay the fees. Hold on. This is what NARA has come. Hold on. This is what the NARA bill has come to address. The devastation that has been experienced by a Category 5 hurricane that we have never experienced before is immense. And people are suffering. And it does appear that while you all address the fact that you're waiting and waiting, you have not taken time to recognize that extreme conditions require extreme measures and people need help now. And hold on, you are talking about corruption. Corruption does not come with the NARA bill. We have said corruption for generations. We have called it while you're in power. We have called it over here. NARA is not bringing corruption to this country. What NARA seeks to do is to assist persons who are in dire distress. The same persons that you speak about in your constituency. And I say to you, as other speakers have said, you are seeking perfection over helping the people of this country. You look and read through the bill. This is not, yes, that is exactly. And I say to you, there are sensible people who have contributed in this parliament. They belong over your side. And believe me, I am saying to you, they believe that this is one such time that we need to come together and pass this bill so that we can help Jamaicans to survive the disaster that has overtaken us. This is not time to refer to people on the side as puss and butt against puss mouth. That is for your election campaign, which you lost. You lost it. You lost the elections. And this is a government that the people have chosen. And I say to you tonight that your speaker said Jamaicans are going to judge us.
Proceed.
They have judged us. That is why, despite the viciousness of the election campaign, this government is now the government of Jamaica. I'm saying, despite the viciousness which has come into this debate, which speakers on that side have sought to continue, the people have spoken. And I want to say this evening, I want to say to you this evening, Jamaicans are waiting for the government to reach out and to help them. Remember,
I said they go for one advertisement on Qatar. Sure, damn foolishness.
amazing. For they come into this debate, which speakers on that side have sought to continue.
Come on, hold on,
have
man.
spoken. And I want to say this evening, I want to say to you this evening, Jamaicans are waiting for the government to reach out and to help them. Remember, if there are weaknesses, there are mechanisms to come back to Parliament and strengthen the bill. But right now, people need the help. Children need the assistance. And I say tonight, I urge you as members of Parliament who Jamaicans have elected to help them through difficulties, to support the bill, because Jamaicans believe that that is what we are here to do. And this is what the NARA bill, the language, and I watch people laugh and pontificate and push their hands, and it's a big, those who are not trying to ponder and become intellectual more than others, some of them are throwing words and talking and that. Look, that is what, and you have lost exactly what it is that this bill is here to do, to assist Jamaicans and put them first. Yes, that is exactly so. And I'm not disappointed in everybody, because there are those on your side who know. I am appealing to those who still have not gotten out of election mode, and to recognize that as parliamentarians, we have a duty to this country and to the people of this country. And so this evening, I stand to commend this bill, which I trust we will pass so that Jamaicans can get help. And I also say to you that even as it is there is no bill that is perfect. There's absolutely no bill that is perfect. There will never be a perfect bill, and we will always be able to come back. But if you truly believe in Jamaica and believe that people need help, this is a time to give them the help, now when we need it most. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend this bill to the Parliament for us to support.
But does the one hear what she says to? Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. All she do a pontificate and I try to use slogan words and gaslighting words for get people think say the People's National Party is against speed and helping people. Rubbish. No PMP not support that they bill. Any one of them will support it, they can go to hell. Tell them say me say that. Them a criminal like anybody else will support it. What you talking about? Oh, I'm telling you, man. I don't think so we are around with them this year. A serious times now. And they keep talking about September 3rd like we don't know say thief them thief the election. And you see, it hurt them, you know. It hurt them say buy the election, you know. It hurt them say thief them thief the election, you know. Jamaican people with Jamaican people. And less than 40% high population vote. Jamaican people, some people not even get to vote because the process was so slow and terrible. Anyway, let me get that part out.
Thirdly, under Section 17 and Section 4, projects are selected and prioritized. It is Moko, Janzal, Flamstead, Tango River will come first. We don't know who then go choose. These concerns are not isolated. The opposition has raised them. Civil society has raised them. The media has raised them. Even voices within the government benches have done. We don't know who them go.
Jamaica, me say Nikisha Birchell they on fire. Mighty God of Daniel. Hey, TikTok, gonna listen to this.
Truth. These concerns are not isolated. The opposition has raised them. Civil society has raised them. The media has raised them. Even voices within the government benches have raised them, and I'm not talking about my neighbor in West Central St. James. I'm talking about those on the government benches who pull us aside and say, don't stop fighting, because we can't say nothing for ourselves.
Jamaica, she's saying is not what?
The media has raised them. Even voices within the government benches have raised them, and I'm not talking about my neighbor in West Central St. James. I'm talking about those on the government benches who pull us aside and say, don't stop fighting, because we can't say nothing for ourselves.
So you're telling me, allegedly, that you have people over the JLP that is against the Naira bill and can't talk, and she's not talking about the MP for West Central St. James? Who are the MP for West Central St. James? The Marlin Malawufort. Mighty God. West Central St. James MP. Who that? Marlin Malawufort. So you're telling me, Nikisha Birchell, that there's other persons that is whispering to you guys to fight on behalf of the people of Jamaica, because them over there know say I be a criminal them months, but they can't talk for themselves. You're telling me that there's some among them that have an ounce of integrity? That's what you're telling me? Well, they need to separate themselves from the evil, separate themselves from the criminal them within the Jamaica Labour Party, and make their voices be heard. You understand? Because nobody can carry you guys, you know. Ongo you through Jesus Christ, you know. So what you think? You're just going to operate with the criminals them and be quiet, and then what? You're going to be saved? You're going to just do crime with the criminals and not say anything? When good men stay quiet, nations are eroded and is destroyed. You know, talk up, be brave like Marlin Malawufort, and let your voices be heard, and stop being a weak jellyback. Now is the time to stand up to fear up. Huh? Be on the right side of history. BOLO V&R telling them, who come like on the year where Dr. Alfred Dar said, this is going to take down the Jamaica Labour Party. Say God are working. God are work Jamaica. Just watch and you will see God is working. You remember good. Let's continue, people. Alright, there's somebody left off. You have to put that out on TikTok.
That collective voice is not saying stop. It is saying send the bill to a joint select committee, a time-bound committee. So the opposition is not saying delayed, time-bound. We can get things done. One that works quickly, but ensures the bill is properly tested and strengthened.
What do you mean?
And we're here. The opposition is ready to do the work.
Of course.
Ready to sit the long hours. We're doing it tonight.
Yes.
Ready to move with urgency.
Yes.
But also insisting that we must move responsibly.
Yes.
This authority will manage billions of dollars.
I mean,
Trillions.
trillions actually, yeah.
Trillions of dollars is not abstract.
Yes.
They represent real resources that the Jamaican people will ultimately have to pay back. They shape national priorities. They determine what gets done and what must wait. So the issue is not just speed, it is how decisions are made, it is how resources are directed, and it is whether the system ensures fairness. Finally, because if we are not careful, and Naira not being narrow, it will make relief further from the people who need it most. The responsibility before us is not just to act, although we can act, but to act wisely, to ensure that the system we create serves the people who need it most, not our friends, to ensure that public resources are managed with discipline, fairness, accountability, not buzzwords,
Yes.
words the government ought to get comfortable with.
That's
Because if we
right.
get the system right, recovery will follow. But if we get the system wrong, this bill risks leaving Jamaicans with a heavy bill to pay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Keisha Berger. Big up yourself, mama. Big up yourself. Big up yourself.
Madam Speaker,
Yes, sir.
let me begin by saying or repeating, there's no member on this side who does not support or appreciate the urgency of reconstruction. But I can speak with some confidence, Madam Speaker, because the last time the member from South Trelawney got up and spoke so passionately
Yes.
in support of a bill,
Yes.
her minister sent that bill to a joint select committee. And I'm very hopeful.
Jamaica is a man in class, blurt not.
Based on the passion.
Yo.
What can
Madam Speaker, if you listen to
Yo.
in support, but I can speak with some confidence, Madam Speaker, because the last time the member from South Trelawney got up and spoke so passionately.
No. Parliament too nice. No, man. Parliament too nice, yeah, man. Parliament too nice. Parliament ain't TikTok. I'm not live, you know. But I'm not live on TikTok, but I'm live on YouTube. No, I have to come over here, so. Want to listen to me now? Mr. Omar Newell. Why? You're a class act, yeah, man. So you know, so Nikisha Burchell basically exposed you have some people over the JLP where I whisper and say, yo, we don't go and fight the good fight. I true we can't talk. But we don't go and fight the good fight against the bill. Marissa Dalrymple come up on a chat. One bag of foolishness. One bag of garbage. So here the general now, no? That Omar Newell, listen to this.
Let me begin
Yes.
by saying or repeating,
Yes.
there's no member on this side who does not support or appreciate the urgency
Right.
of reconstruction.
Yes.
But I can speak with some confidence, Madam Speaker, because the last time the member from South Trelawney got up and spoke so passionately in support of a bill, her minister sent that bill to a joint select committee. And I'm very hopeful, based on the passion that he spoke.
Embarrassing.
Madam
We need some milk.
Oh, that's too loud. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh my God, no. Say that again with General. Where's the go the last time?
Sent that bill to a judge because the last time
the
member from South Trelawney got up and spoke so passionately in support of a bill, her minister sent that bill to a joint select committee. And I'm very hopeful, based on the passion that he spoke.
Jamaica, in our bill, hey, we say them pass this bill, man. Me to say we carry them that court. One by one, they'll be going to jail. Criminal. You might know where Andrew is over this article, right? Yo, Marissa Dalrymple get exposed. But you tell me what you think in the comment section? No, sir. Oh my God, let's continue. Jamaica. This is too sweet.
Madam Speaker, if you listen to the members on that side, with the exception of one, you'd believe the Naira bill came down on tablets of stone.
Yes.
But I'm encouraged by the fact that the Prime Minister submitted 4 pages of amendments today.
Oh!
He amended clause 2. He amended clause 3.
Oh!
He amended clauses 4, 8, 9,
what
10,
you say?
13, 17,
what
28,
you say?
and the schedule. And I'm hoping that by the end of this evening, he will go one further. And he will accept the recommendation that this bill be sent to a time-bound joint select committee of Parliament so we can have a better Naira bill.
Wow, me never know that.
Speaker, this bill...
Jamaica, I could play that back. One Omar knew it, because him did there reading, I think him normal. Real old genius, you know.
Listen to the members on that side, with the exception of one.
Right,
We
no.
believe the Naira bill came down on tablets of stone. But I'm encouraged by the fact that the Prime Minister submitted 4 pages of amendments today.
Yes.
He amended clause 2, he amended clause 3, he amended clauses 4, 8, 9, 10, 13, 17, 28, and the schedule.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that by the end of this evening,
Yeah, message. For you people who are on the line, want to support the movement. The super chat is available, the cash app is available, the Zelle is available, the PayPal is available. You can send gifts from BOLO V&R 2.0. Support the movement.
Go.
We are work hard today. I'm a 4th live stream this. Yeah, man, support the movement, man.
One further, and he will accept the recommendation that this bill be sent to a time-bound joint select committee of Parliament so we can have a better Naira bill.
Yes, that's right.
Madam Speaker, this bill creates an authority with extraordinary powers. Under sections 21 to 24, this authority can direct regulators on how to process approvals, when to make decisions. It can impose timelines and procedures, and ultimately, it can trigger a step-in order, allowing the minister to override a statutory authority entirely. To be clear, Madam Speaker, contrary to what the member from Kingston Central claims, this bill does not foster collaboration. Section 21 makes clear the relationship from day one. The authority is allowed to direct these entities from the very first time they meet.
Wow.
Madam Speaker, in the affected parishes where one expects an increase in applications for building permits by homeowners, this bill will put the interest of an investor who can find $15 million to spend ahead of a single mother seeking to build a house so that her children can have a roof over their head.
Exactly. Yes, that's a fact.
Critically, Madam Speaker, a decision of the minister under a step-in order has the same legal effect as if made by the regulatory agency itself. This is not coordination, Madam Speaker. This is a substitution of the regulatory state.
Yes.
If there's an issue with efficiency, fix the entities.
Yes.
Give them the resources.
Yes.
Make them more efficient.
Yes. That's right.
The Prime Minister told this House that procurement rules will not be in this bill, and they're not, but instead will be established by order under the Public Procurement Act. Madam Speaker, we are being asked to approve a body that will manage billions of United States dollars in reconstruction spending without seeing the procurement framework. And with that framework subject to change without any scrutiny.
Any intervention. Claudia, what's up?
This is a structural gap
Good evening.
in accountability, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister has argued that this model is consistent with the executive agency framework.
No go so.
But the argument does not withstand scrutiny. Yes, executive agencies have an advisory board, but they are not governance free. They are, based on the Executive Agency Act, required to have an approved scheme of management, framework. But the argument does not withstand scrutiny. Yes, executive agencies have an advisory board, but they are not governance free. They are, based on the Executive Agency Act, required to have an approved scheme of management, which shall include the establishment of an advisory board and targets. While advisory boards are mandated by statute, the NARA bill has no such provision. The Executive Agency Act also provides for the appointment of a Chief Executive Officer. It states that the appointment shall be done by the Governor General on the advice of the Public Services Commission. The bill before us today, which involves spending significantly above and beyond that contemplated by executive agencies, simply requires the Minister to appoint the CEO. Madam Speaker, the Most Honorable Prime Minister cannot claim to draw inspiration from the executive agency model without accepting the very important safeguards in the Executive Agency Act.
Right.
The Prime Minister himself acknowledged in his presentation that the executive agency model has had weaknesses. He pointed to targets lacking rigor, to weak enforcement of accountability measures, and to insufficient consequences for underperformance. And yet, those weaknesses are not addressed in the NARA bill. They are replicated, and in some respects, they are deepened. Because here, even the baseline safeguards of the executive agency model are not embedded in the bill.
Whoa.
We're told that JAMROC will provide oversight, but Madam Speaker, JAMROC does not appear anywhere in the bill. It is not established in law. The composition is not defined anywhere in the bill. It has no known reporting relationship or obligation to Parliament. It exists merely in the speech of the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And that is an important thing to note.
Right.
Because powers are being enacted in a law we are being asked to pass, to support, while oversight is being left to intention. Madam Speaker, as legislators, we cannot pass or vote in favor of bills just with good intention. And I heard the brilliant Jamaican who has been asked to chair the board of JAMROC. But we should pass bills in this house that can also stand up to any negatives that might come in the future. Any change in who the board might be, who the CEO may be. There's another omission in the bill that is troubling, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
And that is a lack of clarity around environmental safeguards.
My God.
Especially environmental impact assessment. This bill defines approving entities to include those responsible for environmental management,
yes,
natural resource conservation, environmental permits. And under sections 21 to 24, our environmental agencies can be directed, they can be told what time they need to make decisions within, and they can be ultimately overridden through a step-in order.
Right.
Madam Speaker, we still have no EIA regulations, despite the responsible minister promising that same would have been tabled in his 2025 sectoral presentation.
Mighty
and
God.
interestingly, he made the same promise again earlier today.
What?
Madam Speaker, some of our environmental groups have advised me.
Who am I talk? Hold on. Oh, am I talk about? Yeah, me tell you, know. You see it? You see it? Me telling you, know. Me telling you, know. You see it? What did I say earlier on my life? It sounds good until there is a rebuttal. You know what I talk? The Minister of Water. MP for North East Center. What's his name again? What's his name? Matthew Samuda. I say his name? Him. And Matthew Samuda, I'm talking, I only listen to him I say. Mighty God, no. No, Omar Newell give me a whole heap of work for the bro. Yo, Omar Newell give me a whole heap of work for them. I not tell no lie. This a man is too dangerous. This a man is too dangerous, Jamaica. No. I'm going to do one next video again. Hold on there.
Within, and they can be ultimately overridden through a step-in order. Madam Speaker, we still have no EIA regulations, despite the responsible minister promising that same would have been tabled in his 2025 sectoral presentation. An interesting regular order. They can be told what time they need to make decisions within. And under sections 21 to 24, our environmental agencies can be directed. They can be under and
Jamaica, wanna listen to Omar Newell exposing Matu Samuda. Wanna listen carefully, you know? Listen to this.
environmental permits. And under sections 21 to 24, our environmental agencies can be directed. They can be told what time they need to make decisions within. And they can be ultimately overridden through a step-in order. Madam Speaker, we still have no EIA regulations, despite the response of the Minister promising that same would have been tabled in his 2025 sectoral presentation. And interestingly, he made the same promise again earlier today. Madam Speaker, some of our environmental groups have advised me that we have had cases, Madam Speaker, where our multilateral partners have had to step in and demand EIAs be done based on their internal guidelines because we had nothing that said an EIA must be done. And the dredging, a project relating to the Kingston Harbour comes to mind.
Jamaica, you hear that? You know how significant of an argument that is? That is a dagger in the heart of Matu Samuda's entire speech. As a matter of fact, that one dagger in the whole operations and Nara. Because watch out, you supposed to give a EIA, establish an EIA from 2025. Now you're coming at 2026 with the same speech and I promise it again. But telling you, earlier when I listened to Matu Samuda, I say everything sound alright, until there's a rebuttal. Here comes somebody that was listening and here comes somebody that came with the rebuttal and the facts. Irrefutable, ladies and gentlemen. Irrefutable. If I want you to know about Omar Newell, he comes with the facts. Even the lady with the what's her name again? One of the JLP lady, them man, they have a radio station. I don't remember her name. She come like Cliff Hughes. She, her husband used to be the former commissioner of police, one white man. Him same one, the one from England, yes. She step on our station and say, yo, then be careful of this brother here, because he's not a normal politician. He come with the facts them and it's hard to deal with him in the parliament. You gotta be sharp. One Omar Newell, St. Mary, when you get an MP extraordinary, when you make sure say, when you work with him, good things coming to St. Mary, St. Mary, good things coming to the area. Mighty God, I'm big up yours, I St. Mary MP them same way. And one of them escape out the Labour Party, but goddamn time, you know what thing go. If I soon broke and them people soon go about them business. Hey, one Omar Newell people, mighty, hey, yo, me say, remember when the man said that to you, the man, about the environment and I mean, I say, alright. You know what did come to my mind, Jamaica? Let me tell you what did come to my mind. When I talk about environment, and I talk about NEPA, I say, NEPA? Then brother, only never have one deal the other day. We go sour. One secret deal with company. And the company get off pretty much scot-free. Nobody can sue them. From them time, them not trust NEPA, you know? From them time, them not trust nobody where the minister will oversee NEPA have no deal. I don't trust them, Jamaica. I don't trust. And then you see him and make you know say environmentalists from other countries. I say no, our guidelines, we have to have this. We can't operate without it. What call it?
Lines. Because, Madam Speaker, where our multilateral partners have had to step in and demand EIAs be done based on their internal guidelines.
EIAs, Environmental Internal Audit. I guess that's what it is. Let's go back.
Singly, he made the same promise again earlier. To time they need to make decisions within, and they can be ultimately overridden through a step-in order.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, we still have no EIA regulations, despite the response of the Minister promising that same would have been tabled in his 2025 sectoral presentation. And interestingly, he made the same promise again earlier today. Madam Speaker, some of our environmental groups have advised me that we have had cases, Madam Speaker, where our multilateral partners have had to step in and demand EIAs be done based on their internal guidelines because we had nothing that said an EIA must be done. And the dredging, a project relating to the Kingston Harbour comes to mind.
Mighty God.
Madam Speaker,
hold on.
what is not in this bill?
Kingston Harbour? Is he talking about the Chinese? No, me need to call. No, me need to call Ed Boy. No, Ed Boy, am I link when it comes to that? No, me need to call Ed Boy. No. Me need some verification, Jamaica. Me need some verification, hold on there. Me need some verification. I need some verification. Please excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can get in touch with the good brother, Head Boy. Mighty God. No man. See me, General. See me can get in touch with him. Hold on. I'm supposed to hear it here. I don't know what's going on. Alright, me now get him. Cha-cha. True, me make the call now in our Jesus. Speaker stop work. True, me make the call.
NARA is a growth bill, Prime Minister.
Environmental impact assessments cannot be waived.
Environmental impact assessment. V&R, what's up? You late? Oh gosh, man, how yourself? Better late than never. Better late than never, my bonunos. Better late than never.
Only expedited. Perhaps requiring that certain types of projects must, and they can be ultimately overridden through a stepping order.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, we still have no EIA regulations, despite the responsible minister.
Environmental impact assessment. That's what the EIA is. Environmental impact assessment. Alright?
Promising that same would have been tabled in his 2025 sectoral presentation. And interestingly, he made the same promise again earlier today. Madam Speaker, some of our environmental groups have advised me that we have had cases, Madam Speaker, where our multilateral partners have had to step in and demand EIAs be done based on their internal guidelines because we had nothing that said an EIA must be done. And the dredging, a project relating to the Kingston Harbour comes to mind. Madam Speaker, what the
project dredging the Kingston Harbour
and demand EIAs be done based on their internal guidelines because we had nothing that said an EIA must be done. And the dredging, a project relating to the Kingston Harbour comes to mind.
Project relating the Kingston Harbour. See me can find up on that. Yo, the man make me go do research. You know it's serious, right? The man make me do research. The Kingston Harbour cleanup project K8CP partner focus on removing pollution, largely blah blah blah. Which other project that? Kingston Harbour cleanup, the Great Mangrove cleanup, dredging. I must say dredging the project relating to the Kingston Harbour. Dredging. Dredging. Kingston Harbour was the container terminal expansion, blah blah blah. Modernizing the port, large new Panamax vessel. It's initially aimed at enhancing Jamaica's position in the global logistics hub, following the expansion of the Panama Canal. Oh, isn't it the Chinese that control the Panama Canal and them and so Venezuela and then the America in a problem because of Panama Canal? Hold on there. Let me go this one deeper research, Jamaica. Don't move a muscle. Panama Canal. Who controls it? The Republic of Panama has full control and ownership of Panama Canal operating through independent government agencies. Blah 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 blah. Ownership, states offered. Blah blah blah. Panama Canal. Permanent United States retain. Under the treaties, the canal is permanently neutral, although the United States retains the right to defend it from threats. They not eat, man. They not eat. The Chinese, them, man, and the Panama Canal, man. Hey, listen, on my topic, you know, but you see, when me hear something where important, and some brain just like large, all if me not research it. So the Panama Canal now is, oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. So the expanding Jamaica logistic hub had something to do with some type of partner. That's why the Chinese them have some stake in the harbor, the Kingston harbor. Blur not. See they know. 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 Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, with dredging done by the Denel Group, Sajoka, SAC. Mighty God. Let me go ask the next question, just to confirm. Who owns major share in Kingston Harbor? Who owns major shares in Kingston Harbor? Make me go look that up. Kingston Harbor. Let me see what I go on there. So, based on blah blah blah, company major logistic infrastructure blah blah, Kingston Wharf, majority shareholders, 10 shareholders, Jamaica Producers Group, who holds controlling stake in logistics such as blah 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 blah. This on behalf of the various accounts and blah 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 blah. Kingston JP Shipping describe and grow assets. Corporate tax, blah blah blah. Okay. So with the other 10 shareholders then there. Alright, let me ask one different question. Who are the 10 major shareholders of the Kingston Harbor? Let me ask that the question then. Let me ask that the question then. Alright, Seaboard Corporation. What is 10 shareholders? Alright, so SBD, LLC, Maritime, Kingston Pot Workers, Sagicor, Kingston Wharf, Guardian Asset, PAM, Pool Equity Fund, Kingston Maritime, Sage Logistics Infrastructure. What Seaboard Corporation? Where is that? Who is that? Them own 21.6%. Who is that? Jamaica Producers Group Limited, JPGL, them own 43%. But who is SBD LLC? Which company that? Where they come from? Where they originate from? SBD LLC. How that go? Origins. Appearing what? SBD Apparel. No, not SBD Apparel. Firm American blah blah blah. Okay. And blah blah blah. Me's not the best person to look into these things. I mean, he's not the businessman, but.
Madam Speaker, what is not in this bill is just as important as what is in it.
Yes.
There's no explicit requirement for environmental impact assessments. So there's no preservation of existing environmental permitting thresholds, no protection against the waiver or compression of environmental review process, no clarity as to how regulators such as NEPA will operate within this framework. Madam Speaker, there should be no ministerial bypass of our environmental protection system.
Facts. There should
them
never
the resources and give them the support to achieve the efficiency that we desire.
Of course. I agree.
The Prime Minister has framed this authority as central to climate resilience, Madam Speaker. But you cannot build climate resilience by weakening environmental oversight.
Mighty God.
Environmental impact assessments are not just bureaucratic obstacles. They are the very tools that ensure that infrastructure is properly sited, flood risks are understood, ecosystems are protected, and long-term vulnerabilities are avoided. When you combine expedited approvals, directive powers over regulators, and ministerial override authority without explicit environmental safeguards, Madam Speaker, you create the risk of poorly sited developments, of increased flood and landslide vulnerability, of long-term environmental degradation, and ultimately rebuilding the same vulnerabilities we are trying to correct. Madam Speaker, if this authority is to lead a program of resilience, then environmental safeguards cannot be optional, implied, or subject to override. They must be explicitly protected in law.
Yes, I agree.
Madam Speaker, it's not hard to fix this bill. I think we can strengthen this bill by explicitly requiring compliance with environmental permitting laws. By clarifying that environmental impact assessments cannot be waived, only expedited. Perhaps requiring that certain types of projects must have environmental impact assessments. Requiring environmental reporting as part of project approval and monitoring. And Madam Speaker, we have heard reference to international precedents and models. New Zealand, Japan, and the United States and Dominica were cited. And I want to examine, Madam Speaker, not just their existence, but what their enabling laws actually stipulated. In New Zealand, Madam Speaker, the Act set up a cross-party forum comprised of members of parliament from the affected zone who were given responsibility for providing the minister with information or advice in relation to the operations of the Act. I note one of today's amendments, which I welcome, requires consultation with members of communities affected or likely to be affected by the implementation of a project. But what of persons who are elected by these people and these communities to local authorities and to our parliament? What role will they have, and what role should the Act stipulate that we should have? Madam Speaker, it can be strengthened by the draft recovery strategy and plans being shared with the public by the Act. Public consultation mechanism, and I think that has now been addressed. Statutory reporting to Parliament, not just a one-off reporting. And Madam Speaker, I note a talk about sharing with the public. I'm hoping it will not be like what has been shared with the Spark program, where you have a website with static information, the roads that were approved, but you can't go and access updates on where the road in your community is. So you're driving through mud day in, day out to get to your home blocked off, and you can't go online and get a look on a dashboard to see what the status of the project is. Japan, Madam Speaker, their reconstruction.
Yo, this man is not taking any prisoners, bro. No. Yo, let me just go to Andrew real quick. I'm saying live and then come back to that.
Because it is constraining the...
So we can't listen to him a chat slow so long, you know.
The criticism
let me go back to
that
Speaker,
we have designed a bill to the...
Come on from the screen.
Thanks for your indulgence and the indulgence of members in offering a comment on the procedures of the House. The use of points of order. I believe the House, specifically the rule method here, and I recall those days quite clearly.
Done. Triple wrist cleaning power.
Oh my God,
He
bro.
say what it is. You would just say, could you yield member? And that was the convention. Forgive me.
Brother, we don't need one history lesson
sought
for
to
now.
use the points of
Talk about the
order
Nara bill,
where
brother.
they really should be revert.
Yeah, man, move on. We don't have time for that, brother.
Madam Speaker, let me start by thanking members on both sides. A couple points have been points which I think are also of substance, even if a modicum that you would have to search very hard to find. But they are there, I'm sure, nonetheless.
You might just started in disrespect.
Just as a matter of giving a summary of the debate in terms of the opposition's participation.
Brother, I think I'm laughing thing this.
Summary to say that no one can say that NARA is not a necessary formation in law. No one can say that having a structure to manage recovery is not something that is defensible and necessary. So I think there is the starting point, that NARA is necessary. I think, however, Madam Speaker, that if I am permitted to offer some philosophical perspectives on the differences, that there is a very deep mistrust of government in the country.
Brother, we don't want to hear that.
But underneath
you talk about the obvious, brother. Nobody not trust you. You're uncertified, brother. We don't want to hear that. You can repeat what Christopher Tufton I talk about. You think say you coming now can talk, I go change nothing. One thing, man.
Of government generally, there is an even greater mistrust of executive power.
No, we have a mistrust in you, Andrew Owens. You, we not trust. Not executive powers. You, we don't trust you, Andrew. We do one poll right now and ask the people. All the same labor right them from the anonymous, them are going to say they not trust you and your wife, Andrew Owens. And you come below them. All the barber, the 40,000 teeth. We don't trust you. Don't get it twisted. You will not trust.
That is really what it comes down to. A deep distrust of executive power. And by the way, this is not unique to Jamaica. It is a worldwide phenomenon for countries.
I pretty much try pretty up things, you know. Corruption is a worldwide phenomenon. We don't need to hear that, brother. Move on to the bill, brother.
Says restraint brings prosperity to people. And that thinking is sometimes challenged in certain quarters. But I continue to maintain that democracy is the best form of government that we have. And that we must make our democracy work to deliver prosperity. The challenge is, how do we use executive authority without it trampling on the rights of the people?
There's no challenge. Are you alone of the challenge in your mind? Are you alone of the challenge in your mind? There's no challenge where that is concerned. That means you come with a bill and you have the challenge in your mind, so you don't know how to make executive powers work without trampling on the people. But if you go away daily, what's up? If you go away, man.
That is always the challenge. And that's why our system is designed as it is, where the members of parliament should come vigorously defending their positions to ensure that executive authority is restrained, but we have to be careful that executive authority is not constrained. Because it is in the constraining, the over-limiting of the actual power to execute that the prosperity is actually delivered.
Who for prosperity? Who for? Yeah, your friend them, and you come below them. Hey, what do you, man? Oh, prosperity.
And I will say this, Madam Speaker, that
for 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close. Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
And prosperity is actually delivered. And I will say this, Madam Speaker, that I've been in this position of Prime Minister now for a decade, and it is a learning experience. I continue to appreciate the nuances of the office each day. And I will say to you that during the pandemic, the challenge of using executive authority was a real challenge for the administration. And indeed, we had to use executive authority as it relates to controlling movements and all kinds of other things that we had to do. And the former Attorney General at the time, member from Western St. James, West Central St. James, would have gone to great pains to advise and to say, we have executive authority, but we have to be so careful with it in how it is used. And I made sure that every executive direction that I gave, that I put my signature to, and I did it, I came to Parliament at the next sitting to bring the executive authority to Parliament for Parliament to have a say on it. And there were times when Parliament's say, though not by authority, couldn't change it, but because Parliament said you should consider this or you should consider that, we took that on and we made changes to many of the various orders for movement and gathering and all the other things that we had to do. That was, for me, at that time, the ultimate exercise of the executive authority. The lesson learned from it is that in a democracy, executive authority overused can be dangerous even for the person using it. No matter what, it leads to suspicion, frustration, and the view that you are restricting the freedoms of individuals at your own whim.
That's exactly what you were doing.
And indeed, I would say that I suffered from that during the pandemic.
You suffered?
In my mind, I was acting to support
you suffered?
And to promote the health and safety.
But this is rich. You talk about you promote health and safety. Why Flight Green never get charged then? Since when I promote health and safety, when Flight Green I talk about shower labor right and I pop champagne and mow it, why would you never charge him? Since as you were protecting people's safety. Rubbish.
Of the public. But there are many Jamaicans who felt that I restricted their movement. So I want to just use this as a basis to say, Madam Speaker, I am not seeking executive power for myself. It's dangerous. And executive power must be controlled. Without question, I'm a firm believer in that.
Brother, you can't say I want a firm believer. Jeremy and D, you hear this? I walk back in Arabic now, you know, because he gets such staunch criticism, you know. Hey, Mr. con man, you know, brother. This man is a con man. Mighty God.
The question is, can we find a way to structure our business such that the use of the executive authority delivers the prosperity without taking away the freedoms, transparency, rights of the people? That's where it is at. And so, Madam Speaker, I want to thank JET, the Jamaica Environmental Trust, and Jamaicans for Justice. They wrote letters to me. The letter from JET was quite extensive. They obviously put a lot of time in going through the bill. They did take the time. And I have to say this, Madam Speaker, because lots of times there are persons who will just hear what is said, look at the headlines, don't know any details, form an opinion because there's always something called confirmation bias. Somebody who you like said something that you like, and therefore that's your position without doing the research. It's obvious that
you benefit from confirmation bias just like everybody else. That's how you've been maintaining power. Because you know some people are worshiping you. You benefit from confirmation bias more than anybody else. So nobody can use that. You're a beneficiary of it as well. Out of order.
These two groups did their research and they put forward their concerns. I will say, Madam Speaker, that not everything that is proposed can be legislated, and not everything that can be legislated should be legislated. And
what the hell are they knocking for? What did he just say a while ago? Absolutely nothing. That was a blanket, broad statement that he made, and everybody upon. Dunce. This is what they get paid for? Sure.
The persons who are drafters, persons who understand the law far better than I do, would agree with that point, that you want the legislation to want, be consistent with legislation that already exists. You want it to be consistent with the Constitution. And you want your legislation not to be complicated. You cannot complex legislation, but you want the legislation to be easily interpreted, well understood, and directed to the point. And so we try to bring a legislation here that creates a framework that is easily understood, easily interpreted, and gets to the point of what it is we want to achieve. So that's one thing. I will say a few other things, Madam Speaker, if the members give me their attention a little longer. There is a point about bringing the bill to a joint select committee. Let me be clear. We on this side, we have taken a decision that as far as possible, we're bringing all our bills to a joint select committee. That's a decision that we took after the experience with the NIPS.
Hey!
Subject of...
He's smart! He's smart! Cause straight a court is going. If he thinks a majority of the house are going to make them pass a bill and he not go to court, he make a sad mistake. Oh yeah, no. The Constitution stand in front of them like a man. Humble yourself. No dictator around here. No king around here. One king a Christ Jesus our Lord and Savior. One king. No more king. We don't recognize no other king but Jesus Christ. Trust and believe that. Alright?
To emergency situations or great urgency. I have heard the undertaking that there would be a commitment on the side of the opposition to have the Joint Select Committee turn around very quickly. I mean, we accept the intention, but we know that it takes a little while. And on average, you're looking at 3 to 6 weeks at the minimum, and sometimes even longer. So I would say I'm being generous, I'm being euphemistic, but it takes a long time. So I would say, Madam Speaker, that I appreciate the opposition recognizing that the Joint Select Committees are not the fastest mechanism that they will try, but for this bill, urgency is important. And I start at this point about urgency, and I'm being very careful in the use of the term urgency, because I really should say it is an emergency.
Brother,
but
6 months gone already. Emergency gone from 7 months ago. And the bill itself, the emergency gone 4 months ago. The bill itself not even deal with the real emergency, which is the fixing back the people them life. That is the real emergency. The people them their own infrastructure, them house, having a roof over them head, or if you get productivity out of people who are homeless. Huh? How them all contribute to the economy? Make it make sense. How? That's foolishness, brethren.
I wish to point out to members.
You know, I don't want to hear no more, because I'm pissing me off already, you know. I'm going to go back to Emmanuel.
Hey, my dear.
Go back to Emmanuel, yeah. Emmanuel, yeah. I'm pissing me off Jamaica. I'm pissing me off the truth.
Day in, day out to get
piss me off, yeah, man.
The draft recovery strategy and plans being shared with the public by the Act. Public consultation mechanism, and I think that has now been addressed. Statutory reporting to Parliament, not just a one-off reporting. And Madam Speaker, I note a talk about sharing with the public. I'm hoping it will not be like what has been shared with the Spark program, where you have a website to talk about Parliament Act.
There's somebody who wants to catch right there, so yes. TikTok, man, to the right now, TikTok, we're not active. I'm not going live over there, but trust me, TikTok I get video. TikTok I get video tonight, Jamaica. Alright, I hope you can bear with me. How about this? Oh, go on, sir. Oh. Watch out. So why am I going off for them wedding? No, sir, this is a wedding already. No look who holding this now going on, sir. Them parents there, how them a behave, sir? No, sir, watch out. She back it up in our wedding just, no. No. That no look good. That no look good. Ladies, I would try to get married and back it up in a wedding dress. I would tell them say that is appealing. No class. In front of people. And again, if you're not a Christian student, what we are going to expect? I understand. It's all good. Moving on. Moving on. Yes, I like that one. That one is not so bright. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen of TikTok, Omar Newell is on fire. Who listen to this?
Public consultation mechanism, and I think that has now been addressed. Statutory reporting to Parliament, not just a one-off reporting. And Madam Speaker, I note a talk about sharing with the public. I'm hoping it will not be like what has been shared with the Spark program, where you have a website with static information, the roads that were approved, but you can't go and access updates on where the road in your community is. So you're driving through mud day in, day out to get to your home blocked off, and you can't go online and get a look on a dashboard to see what the status of the project is. Where you have a website with static and Madam Speaker, I note a talk about sharing with the public. I'm hoping it will not be like what has been shared with the Spark program, where you have a website with static information, the roads that were approved, but you can't go and access updates on where the road in your community is. So you're driving through mud day in, day out to get to your home blocked off, and you can't go online and get a look on a dashboard to see what the status of the project is.
Embarrassing. We need some milk.
Jamaica, nobody not safe. Omar Newell take shot off of every single ministry. Spark program, how you feel? Website when inefficient, you know. You man make it know say, Nara, no bother with that. Make sure say we can't access the thing. What is going on with AdPen? As I talk about that. What's going on with the system for us to know our money is? What do you think we forgot about our money? All the hurricane money go AdPen and the OPM, Office of the Prime Minister. Where's the website to make sure say everything accounted for and we know where this there and everything audited? Where's the website on the promise? But just ask. Probably there I don't know, but I doubt it is there. From the time when I promise it, I doubt it is there. Where is the website? So, you see, where Omar Newell is establishing, there is a pattern of inefficiency, of promises and no fulfillment. Big talk, no action. Exposed, ladies and gentlemen. Exposed. Shout out to Omar Newell, man. Shout out to Omar Newell. You heard? Yes, sir. One Omar Newell.
Japan, Madam Speaker, the Reconstruction Agency was mentioned, and that was established under the Reconstruction Agency Act of 2011. That framework required a basic reconstruction plan and continuous monitoring and reporting. The Dominican model, Madam Speaker, which is closer to home, which was established under the Climate Resilience Act of 2018, that model, Madam Speaker, had a formal board and defined governance structures. The bill in front of us today, Madam Speaker, only defines vaguely a CEO. In fact, we have no idea whether this CEO needs any background in terms of planning or in terms of construction or in terms of what exactly is required of the CEO. It is not stipulated. All we know is that the minister, the Prime Minister, appoints the CEO. Across all the jurisdictions mentioned, Madam Speaker, extraordinary powers are granted, but they are paired with statutory safeguards. But the bill before us, oversight isn't mentioned much. The advisory structure is optional. It's not stated in the act. It's not grounded. The procurement is outside of the bill. environment safeguards are unclear. We are borrowing the power from international models, Madam Speaker, but we're not borrowing the safeguards or adopting the safeguards. Under Section 4, Madam Speaker, the authority may carry out development, undertake business activities, and do anything it considers necessary. This is an extraordinarily broad mandate, especially when you combine it with the procurement flexibility, the override powers, and the minimal oversight mentioned earlier. And so, Madam Speaker, my intervention is not about opposing the bill. It is about how do we strengthen it so that we can have a reconstruction authority in as quick a time as possible with the necessary governance. So we can establish, Madam Speaker, JAMROC in the act, in the bill. We can require performance agreements to be set up with the Cabinet Office. We can define procurement in the act, in the bill. We can better protect environmental safeguards explicitly and mandate EIAs for certain types of projects. We can adopt the BOJ model, Madam Speaker, and require the Chief Executive Officer to report to Parliament from time to time so we can question him. Currently, the bill only requires that reports be tabled, but there's no opportunity for us to properly interrogate those reports in the Parliament. We strongly believe, Madam Speaker, that this bill will benefit from being referred to a joint, time-bound joint select committee with a narrow window for further consideration and deliberation. Madam Speaker, we all agree on the urgency. We all agree on the scale of the task. But urgency cannot justify imbalance in governance. We should not sacrifice good governance and accountability on the altar of expediency. This bill concentrates power, Madam Speaker, in one minister. It weakens statutory oversight. It leaves critical safeguards undefined. If we are to rebuild Jamaica, Madam Speaker, let us do so not only with speed, but with accountability firmly embedded in law. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Mighty God. Oh my God. Come on, guys. Come on. Like, seriously. That is the man right there. That is the man right there. But I want to go back, because let me see something.
All right, Madam Speaker, in light of the circumstances, and as the member, right?
Talk too much. Oh, yeah, nothing we are so good. I don't know, we don't know movement there and I get no people have to pay
I think your mic went off.
millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And I thank the House for their patience.
I rate them, Jamaica.
I would hope that somewhere along in the presentation we will get the benefit of the audit this year as we move along. I want to say just a quick thanks to my colleagues on this side and the other for having been cordial with me and also having made me feel welcome back to the House. I want to also acknowledge within the galleries persons, friends of mine from the constituency and otherwise, and also persons in my support. And I want to publicly acknowledge my junior shadow person, or my deputy, newly minted Senator Baines, who is also here and in the gallery. Madam Speaker, I stand here on behalf of
should I say this? But this is something, because somebody when I talk about the intro, this is something somebody has said about the intro for DAMIAN CRAWFORD speech, but I don't know. I guess I just people opinion. Let me just click back as
Amendment of the Wildlife Protection Complementary statutes include the Wildlife Protection Climate change intensifies storms and droughts, biodiversity loss in roads, ecosystem services like coastal protection and food security. pollution of both air, land, and of course marine undermines public health.
Alright, so we now get this. Just only just indulge me in Jamaica. When we go and play Damien Crawford. Damien Crawford part. Indulge me a little bit Jamaica. Something was observed that I said. Maybe people are look too deep, you know. I'm not gonna say what was observed, you know, but something was observed. So good.
Let the sun warmth guide you.
From the constituency and otherwise, and also persons in my support. And I want to publicly acknowledge my junior shadow person, or my deputy, newly minted Senator Paynes, who is also here and in the gallery. Madam Speaker, I stand here on behalf of the parents, teachers, administrators, and students who are the tenants of the education system. Now, in the state of progressive collapse. Their experiences are not anecdotal, and today I will play the role of a forensic auditor, seeking to understand and examine the structural integrity of the system at every level, to identify and name the specific points of failure, and to determine and hold accountable those who are charged with the management of the system. Madam Speaker, the evidence along the...
Hold on them, General. Don't move.
I pause to acknowledge my councillors, constituency executive, management team members who are present here. And comforting my contribution to the sectoral debate in this honorable house. I'm privileged to stand here, firstly because of the blessings of the Almighty, but secondly because of the trust placed in me by the constituency of St. Ann Northeast. I pause to acknowledge my councillors, constituency executive, management team members who are present here today. I also use this opportunity to etch in the annals of history the work, the impact, the ambition, and the intended legacy of the young dynamic Ministry of Water, Environment and Climate Change that I now have the honor and privilege to lead. I welcome senior members of the ministry to the Parliament today, including the Permanent Secretary Wayne Roberts and our Director General Sharon Morrison, CTDs and team members who are also here today. I also welcome both members of the boards of management and senior team members of the agencies and departments also under my supervision. Madam Speaker, I also use the opportunity to welcome guests from the World Bank Water Sector team who are in Jamaica on a particular mission but have joined us this afternoon. We extend welcome to them as well. Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the Most Honourable Prime Minister for the trust he once again placed in me to manage these critical subject areas. Madam Speaker,
So why me and Mel Davis are hiding faces? I want to go on.
He once again placed in me to them as well.
Camera catch Mel Davis and Mel Davis have an over and face like so. I want to go on. And why me and Mel Davis are hiding face? Why would he be hiding his face? The hell?
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the Most Honourable Prime Minister for the trust he once again placed in me to manage these critical subjects.
Okay. Alright. I hear what I needed to hear. Alright. Alright. I heard what I needed to hear, Jimmy.
The evidence of failure is documented, consistent, and undeniable. Causes of failure are structural, chronic, and policy-driven, and inadequate responses are generally immaterial and has fallen catastrophically short of what is necessary. Failure, as we indicated, Madam Speaker, is consistent across every level of education. The evidence of failure is not isolated and is systematic. I have documented this evidence and is consistent across all levels. Madam Speaker, it is the duty of education to transition our children up each floor and eventually across onto the bridge of productivity and economic participation. However, that failure is stark. The crisis starts at the very top. Jamaica's tertiary enrollment stands at 19% for the ages of 19 to 14. And so for the ages of 19 to 14, only 19% of Jamaicans are currently enrolled in tertiary education. An example can be done for Barbados at 65% and Trinidad at 36%. Within the labor force, only 16% have a tertiary exposure or education. And when one considers our youth that are not in education, employment, or training.
Speaking about education, have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen this video? So a police doctor, a doctor on a bus was assaulting a schoolgirl, two schoolgirls. Man, something is very wrong, you know? You just glimpse it. This is the freeze frame. When you look on this, you're going to see. You're going to know what I'm talking about. Obviously, they're not going to show you when him actually put him hands on the girl. Right? But I watched this video. This was very disturbing. I was like, yo, the man not pump the girl. Man, bro. Something spiritual is happening in Jamaica. I'm telling you. I am taking this matter to court because education is a right, not a favor. If the state is not delivering that right, then the Constitution must be enforced. Our Constitution says that Jamaica children, every Jamaican child has a right to public funded tuition at the pre-primary and primary levels. My position is simple. If that's right, if that right exists in law, it must exist in real life too. Too many families still struggle to access early childhood education. When access depends on what parents can afford, the Constitution promise is not being fully met. Many early childhood institutions still depend heavily on fees, fundraising, and parents' support to survive. That means the burden is falling too much on families, not enough on states. This is not just about access, it is also about quality. Too many institutions are not fully certified and too many teachers are not degree trained. A right must be meaningful, not merely available. More than too many children are entering primary school. More than too many children are entering primary school without meeting key development milestones. That tells me the foundation is weak, and when the foundation is weak, the whole system suffers. Early childhood education is one of the most important stages, yet it remains underfunded. Wow. If we know this stage matters most, then the investment must match the responsibility. Of course, this case was not filed out of malice, but out of duty to the Constitution, to the children of Jamaica, and to the future of this country. Education must be guaranteed, not managed like privilege. Wow. So he's taking them to court. Wow. Hey, shout out to DAMIAN CRAWFORD. Man. Big salute, Sir Damian. Big salute to you, sir. This is amazing. Look at this, guys. See that? You see that? Former lesbian now working for the Almighty. Wow. Hey, rest in peace, no Big Stone. Rest in peace, General.
It currently stands at 124,000. Madam Speaker, an assessment of our labor force indicates that the vast majority of exposure is at the upper secondary level. And please note I did not say completion, but exposure. The 51% of the labor force have been exposed to the upper secondary level, 5% only to the primary level, 20% at the lower secondary level, and 16% have been exposed at the tertiary level. Madam Speaker, the workforce is indeed moving in the wrong direction. The total labor force, Madam Speaker, has shifted by 12%. However, youth not in education, employment, or training has shifted 31%. Indeed, at this point, Madam Speaker, in 2020, there was 108,000 of those young people not in education, training, or employment. This 2025 was registered at 124,700. Additionally, Madam Speaker, in 2020, tertiary enrollment for 19 to 24 was 22%. It has shifted downwards to now only 19%. Madam Speaker, we have 887 workers without qualification at current. Indeed, the total without qualification in 2020 was 727,000. In 2025 is 887,000. In just 5 years, approximately 160,000 more persons have entered the workforce without qualification. This is larger than some of our parishes' population.
Wow.
Additionally, our men are extremely at risk, as in 2025, 560,000 of the men in employment was without any form of qualification. And for women, 327,000. This, I must point out, Madam Speaker, does not include the 722,000 that is not within the labor force. The set that have withdrawn themselves from seeking opportunity to work. So indeed, if one should assume correctly that the vast majority of those that have given up on the probability of employment would be in the same position as the 887,000 that have no qualification, we have at this point over 1 million persons of the ripe working age that is without any qualification at all. One would therefore be wondering if HART, Trust NTA, is coming to the rescue. However, Madam Speaker, the simple answer to that is a categorical no. Indeed, in 2024-2025, HART NSTA enrolled 137,442 persons. One would be surprised to note that the certification rate of those persons was only 39.3%. Of the 137,422, only 53,669 were certified. This indicates that over 80,000 having been enrolled for that particular year did not achieve the most basic of certification. Madam Speaker, this is a continuation.
Yo, Mark Golding right now. Who don't want to see Mark Golding? Mark Golding is like, what? It's all over his face. Wait, what? Like, are you serious, Damian Crawford? Mark Golding is like, wait a minute, hold up, pause. Say what now? Play that back.
For 2025, HART NSTA enrolled 137,442 persons. One would be surprised to note that the certification rate of those persons was only 39.3%. Of the 137,422, only 53,669 were certified. This
Yo, Mark Golden face is priceless right now. Yo, I gotta screenshot this.
9.3%. Of the 137,422, only 53,669 were certified. This indicates that over 80,000 having been enrolled for that particular year did not achieve the most basic of certification. Madam Speaker, this is a continuation of the assessment by the Auditor General in 2020 that found that the average certification rate for Hard Trust NTA over the 5-year period of assessment was 45%. Madam Speaker, instead of seeking to fix things, the Hard Trust NTA decided to surrender their ambition and indicated that the goal that they had at that time of 70 to 80% certification was indeed, and I quote, a stretched goal, and that they would revise from an internal assessment the expectation to 45 to 50%.
Wow. So they dropped their standards because they couldn't meet the standard. That's not what I know Heart is supposed to be about. Heart is supposed to aim for higher standard. It's like, yo, listen. Heart is for people that don't learn the conventional way. That's how I look at Heart. That's what Heart is about. That's why you go there for certain skill set. For maybe even realize your passion. Because if you go to the right Heart and you're in the right type of engagement or the right field of study, I'm telling you, you could come out so well back in the day, that is. You could come out so multifaceted. I don't know what's going on right now, bro. This don't make no sense. Heart dropping their standards and expectation. Mighty God.
Speaker, an analysis of this year suggests that they even missed that particular goal, because we are now at 39%.
Oh my
Madam Speaker,
God. So they dropped their standards and still didn't meet their standards? No, man. Jamaica I produced dunceness, you know. Like what? Unskilled dunceness?
See, the global average is 62%, and many other institutions are way above Jamaica. When you look at this reality, one recognizes that we are facing a serious problem.
Crisis.
Now, when we further analyze those that were actually certified, the vast majority was certified at level 2, what is now currently the lowest level of certification.
Oh my God.
As they have been phasing out level 1. 70% were level 2, 15% were level 3, and 3% was level 4. It made no sense for us to continue from 5 to 8, as the numbers were indeed immaterial. The level 2 are supervised workers that cannot operate without supervision. Madam Speaker, when we go to the secondary floor, it continues. Only 19%. The Lord is good all the time. Page 50. Page 50. And the staff, of course, of the parliament. Page 50. One more down.
Do you think all dishwashing soaps are the same? Try Done. Done. Triple risk cleaning power.
All right. So as we can see here, only 1 in 5 students leave with the basic certification that is necessary, equivalent to what the United States call a GED. There would have been a uproar in the United States, member from St. James, appropriately dressed in the national colors, if the GED rate was only 19%. Indeed, if you look at the numbers, because sometimes the percents become misleading, of the 30-something thousand, 34,000 that sat the exam, 6,000 achieved the basic minimum, and 26,000 did not achieve that minimum of 5 subjects, including math and English. Now, if you look, Madam Speaker, that this have been consistent for a while, over a 10-year period, you would have 260,000 that did not achieve 5 subjects, including math and English.
Damn.
So the opposite, you will have only 60,000 that would have achieved this. So this is 1 year. This is 1 year.
It's bad,
now,
you know?
next, go next.
Where should I mess with the front day one?
It is said, Madam Speaker, that the ministry has therefore sought to disregard and to sell a lie in the conversation moving forward. And this has been proven when we consider math and English, as has been reported by the Ministry of Education, and as is the reality when it comes to the assessment of the numbers. More recently, Madam Speaker, we saw a headline in the newspaper that suggested that improved performance in 2025 CSEC English and Math. There, the minister suggested that Jamaica was outpacing and outperforming the Caribbean. And I would quote, the minister says, regional average is 80% for student pass in English. We have surpassed the region in English A. The region average for mathematics is 39% of students passing mathematics. We are above the regional average again in mathematics, and unquote. However, Madam Speaker, this quote is deeply misleading. A serious assessment of the mathematics passes would have shown the following. 1, the lowest level of enrollment in the last 2 decades.
Wow.
In 2025, enrollment was 32,339 compared to 2023 of 35,768. Of course, one may assume that maybe the birth rate have changed. A quick assessment of a reasonable period for which a 16 or 17-year-old will be doing the exam indicated that only 200 more persons were born in that specific year. So what this is showing is that in 2025, there was less participation of the age cohort in the examination and school process. Secondly, in 2025 was also the lowest in 2 decades sitting, 17,831. And the examiners wanted to assess by suggesting that the pass rate was only for those who sat the examination. This big hullabaloo and grandstanding about moving from...
So hold on, no, wait. So they wanted to alter the procedure of how you actually calculate the percentage of pass mark. So they must say if you never sit it, that's like saying if you're not seeking a job, that means you're not unemployed. You're not unemployed. Play that back.
To assess by suggesting that the pass rate in the school process. Secondly, in 2025 was also the lowest in 2 decades sitting, 17,831. And the examiners wanted to assess by suggesting that the pass rate was only for those who sat the examination. This big hullabaloo and grandstanding about moving from 37% to 44% only included 9 additional passes. In 2024, we had 7,817. In 2025, we had 7,826. Indeed, Madam Speaker, while it is that if you look as a percentage of those who sat the examination at 43%, if you look at a percent of those enrolled, our mathematics passes is 24.2%. Now, it must be admitted and added that all our children are to be doing mathematics and English. And so an appropriate assessment would have been of the enrollment at this particular point.
Exactly.
Madam Speaker, there is also a greater cause for concern because further analysis suggested that approximately 20% of the age cohort were not even enrolled. They had given up on school.
You know, so I'm going to get back in my maths though. Because every problem is a maths problem, you know. Just like what things have been said. Every problem is a maths problem, bro. I'm not lie. I start get back in my maths hard and heavy, man.
So therefore, while it's 24% of the enrollment, it's 19.3% of the age cohort that passed mathematics.
Wow.
Madam Speaker, this grandstanding of ahead of the Caribbean has been proven untruthful, as the vast majority of the Caribbean countries that we seek to compare enroll more than 70%, sit 70% of their enrollment sit these examinations.
Jamaican
we go further.
Neither you, Dirty Batty Jerry, or Cliff
the English language. Again,
probably it's a bunch to some of them recently from machines in the hospital works.
However,
who's benefiting from that? Who's benefiting from the practice
where you are referring
that story tonight. But when you see all people are nationwide, look at him, look at the krill monster that has eroded and invaded Jamaica. But it is that bad Jamaica when you see all the labor rights over nationwide like Tana Thomas. I talk about the healthcare system. When you hear Tana Thomas, I talk about the healthcare system. Listen to, she couldn't hold it, she couldn't take George Davis' line this morning. Listen to Tana, listen to Tana.
There must be other people out there who've experienced instances where they've gone into hospital and they're being sent elsewhere. Go do a test here, go do a test there. When the machines in the hospital works, who's benefiting from that? Who's benefiting from the practice where you are referring somebody down there, you're signing up this paper to send them elsewhere to pay God knows how much money when the machine in the public hospital works? And that's why I say this morning, don't send Dr. Tufton. Send ordinary Jamaicans like myself and others like Miss Merle into these.
This is the same line of argument where Cliff used the thought the other day.
Public hospitals, have them document their experiences. I think there's a glasses that you can wear now that records. Have them wear them and document their interactions with some of these practitioners. And then you'll see for yourself in a documented form, because it's not like people haven't been talking about their experiences using public health facilities. Then you will see what is really taking place with some of the bad apples in some of our public health facilities. Certainly, a lot of money has been spent on resources in our public hospitals, no doubt. We hear it in the sectoral presentations from the health minister and the prime minister and others. Certainly, there are amazing doctors in our public health facilities. We spoke to some of them recently from Maypen Hospital. More good apples than bad apples. But the bad apples are making it really, really, really bad for vulnerable people like patient X here, or Miss Merle, who have to interact with our medical facilities in our vulnerable state in life or death situations. So I called this morning, send them in, have them document those situations so that those bad apples can be held to account.
Here are.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Tana talking like that. I wonder if Tana get paid. You look like a bouncy check. Bounce check in her account. You know, Courtney? Probably it's a bounce check why she talking like that.
Bounce check in her account to make the school upset.
Probably it's a bounce check.
No, don't say.
What can go so?
Back of the class with another subject. I'll be a dunce. Fully dunce. But she look different with her glasses though. Hey, listen, you know what I mean? Hey. She just look different with her glasses, that's all I'm gonna say. Moving on, Jamaica.
Of those who pass would indicate that of sitting, we are at 85%, but that enrollment, we are at 51.7%. If we go back to the conversation that the minister herself had, that we were almost at 80% as a Caribbean average, that 51% would be far from the Caribbean average. Madam Speaker, is it therefore within our permit to ignore thousands of Jamaican children who would have not been given even the opportunity as assessed by their teachers to enter, and then claim that we are improving if we should do a reduction of those who sit and the percent from those who pass? Back up. Madam Speaker, at the primary level, it continues. The 4th grade literacy rate in 2025 indicated 65% at full literacy. This is down from 84% in 2015. Madam Speaker, we're moving in the wrong direction. For English language, at the PEP level, over 10,000 students did not achieve basic proficiency. And in mathematics, almost over 12,000 did not achieve basic proficiency. Madam Speaker, at that level, we found that less than 60% were proficient in all courses. From the age of 12, the
we have accepted the recommendation of the member from Eastern Portland to give a definition to resilience, and that is resilience in relation to disaster and climate change means the capacity of communities, infrastructure, institutions, economic and environmental systems to A, anticipate, prepare for, and reduce the adverse effects of disasters and climate change. B, absorb, withstand, and adapt to the impacts of disasters so as not to sustain catastrophic damage or loss. C, recover from the adverse effects of disasters in a manner that 1, restores and where practicable improves upon pre-disaster conditions. 2, reduces or eliminates future vulnerability to the effects of disasters and climate change. 3, maintains or improves the social well-being, economic productivity, and environmental integrity of affected communities. I wish to put clause 2.
You may go ahead, opposition leader.
Yeah, before clause 2 is put, I noticed that there's a subsection 2 in clause 2. I have no objection to the amendments as proposed to clause 2. I had pointed out that the exclusion of executive agencies in the original bill could be problematic, and I see that that exclusion is being deleted. But in subsection 2, or subclause 2 of clause 2, it allows the minister by order to amend a definition in the act. Normally, powers to amend given to a minister in relation to legislation deal with things like monetary values such as fines, because those over time can become redundant and so on. But to amend the drafting of a provision, a definition, in this case a definition of works, is very unusual. We don't normally give a single person in the executive the power to amend legislation, especially without it being subject to affirmative resolution, having to come to the House and the Senate for approval, because the legislation itself has been passed by the House and the Senate, or will have been before this can become law. So I think if your intent to keep a provision allowing the definition of works, which seems very comprehensive already, I'm not sure why it was seen to be necessary to have a provision allowing the minister to amend the definition of works. It's a very comprehensive definition. Works includes A, the carrying out of any of the following activities, namely construction, reconstruction, assembly, altering, manufacturing, processing, fabrication, erection, instrumentation, installation, fitting out, improvement, commissioning, decommissioning, demolition, clearance, land remediation, maintenance, repair and renovation involved with building, civil engineering, structural engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and other engineering and technology projects. And B, goods and services incidental to the carrying out of the activities referred to in the paragraph I just read. It's a very broad, it's an immensely broad provision as is. I'm not sure what the motivation was to allow the minister to alter it. But if that's going to happen, that must come to Parliament in our submission.
Ramp with market G and legislation, you know. Down a ramp, man, tell you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The issue raised about the power to alter the definition is one that I have also noted, and I would ask that it be made subject to affirmative resolution. 1. Secondly, in light of the clarification provided by Minister Morgan, given the definition of procure and how wide it is to say by any means, since the intention is that the procurement would take place in accordance with regulations promulgated under the Procurement Act, perhaps an amendment to that section would be advisable. To have procure mean the acquisition of goods, works, or services by any means is very wide. But the clarification was provided that it really will be done in accordance with the regulations that would be promulgated under Section 3 of the Procurement Act. So I'm proposing for consideration that the definition be amended to read, procure means the acquisition of goods, works, or services in accordance with the regulations promulgated under the Procurement Act, and including where necessary purchase. So it's really substituting by any means with a reference to what has been stated is intended to be in accordance with regulations to be promulgated under the Procurement Act. It's the second. The third point in relation to clause 2 is the definition of approving entity. And it captures
Still waiting for your dream to come true? Maybe it's a tropical island or hot sands of a
public body that exercises promulgated under the Procurement Act. It's the second. The third point in relation to clause 2 is the definition of approving entity. And it captures, well, it states that it means a local authority or public body that exercises any statutory, regulatory, administrative, or operational function, where the exercise of that function is required for the implementation, execution, or delivery of an approved reconstruction and resilience project or a designated strategic investment project, including functions relating to A, physical planning and development controls, building controls, including the issuance of building permits and the conduct of inspections, land subdivision, land use and zoning, environmental management, natural resource conservation and environmental permits, approvals relating to water supply, sewage and drainage, roads, highways and transportation infrastructure, electricity, telecommunications and other utility services, and disaster risk management and hazard mitigation. In light of the concerns raised and how approving entity is used in the bill, including at clause 24, subclause 2, I'm just wondering, how is it contemplated that the exercise of the statutory functions and the regulatory functions will not be problematic?
Member Green and the opposition leader and members, would you please do not engage in repeating comments made by others, because once we get into that mode, we will be here forever. Yeah. So please only limit your comments to additional information you would like to offer instead of repeating suggestions made by other members. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I support the suggestion of the member from West Central in relation to in clause 2, definition of works, that we insert the phrase that the minister may by order subject to affirmative resolution. I think that would satisfy the leader of the opposition, just to ensure that there is oversight in relation to any change to the definition, but still achieve the overall objectives of its inclusion. Outside of that, Madam Speaker, I think when the members spoke in relation to procurement, I think there is a need for any changes in relation to that definition. I think clearly this law is subject to other laws and regulations that are part of our framework. I think
Minister Morgan repeated that in his presentation on the bill today. Absent that,
also
comments. I'm trying to be brief.
Member,
yes, if I may just
after opposition leader, then Member Hilton.
Just two comments. I'm trying to be brief. The Prime Minister gave an assurance that there would be an order made under the Public Procurement Act. And in fact, I think Minister Morgan repeated that in his presentation on the bill today. Absent that, on the face of it, the two pieces of legislation don't synchronize. So I think the member from West Central's point is there ought to be a reference, if it is intention, that there will be an order under the Public Procurement Act that addresses how procurement by NARA is to take place, with a framework which we hope will be one which ensures sufficient transparency and accountability in relation to the procurement by NARA, given the massive projects which it is expected to handle. I think there ought to be a reference. So I would support that point. The other point I want to make, there's no definition of projects in the bill. Now, in clause 4, which is the functions of the authority, there are numerous references to the word project. Elsewhere in the bill, there are two categories of projects. There are the approved, second please, there are, I want to get the phrase correct, the approved reconstruction and resilience projects, which as I understand it would be driven by the cabinet and would be public sector projects largely, though they could have partners. And then there are the private sector ones, which are the designated strategic investment projects. Those are two kind of terms of art used in the bill elsewhere. Those two. Now, what isn't clear is whether NARA is limited to those two categories of projects: the approved reconstruction and resilience projects, which are driven by the government, and the designated strategic investment projects, which are driven by the private sector, or whether under clause 4 of the bill, it is anticipated that NARA would also be able to embark on other projects, not necessarily driven by cabinet. And that's an important policy decision, which I think should be clear in the legislation. So if that were so, if the feeling was that two categories of projects are really what NARA is to concern itself with, then there should really be a definition of projects in Clause 2, in the appropriate alphabetical sequence, that says projects means approved reconstruction and resilience projects and designated strategic investment projects. So that would clarify that the regime, which is created in other parts of the Act, which is a developed regime, would be limited to those things, and that there isn't scope for other things that don't fall under that. If that is the intent. If it's not the intent, then I think it should be made clear that it's adding words, such other projects as NARA may choose to or may execute from time to time, or something along those lines. But the use of the word projects on its own, where you have those two categories used elsewhere, to my mind, creates a certain lack of clarity as to the scope of NARA, which is, I don't think we should have that lack of clarity.
Yes. Minister Morgan, I know you are piloting. Would you allow Member Hilton to go?
It will really under of the procurement. People make them a bit tired, yeah, man. We've been at this all day from morning. And thank the few people that come support the platform. Big up on yourself every time. The word is love. You see me? Yeah, see you guys on the next one. There's a bunch of videos that I posted before that you definitely should check out. The video uploads. Check them out, guys. I'm sure there's a few of them that you guys missed. Some important information. Tomorrow we take this back up, yeah? Tomorrow we take this back up. I called in early night tonight. Well, because I had a long day, you know, from morning here. I called in early night tonight. Barely got any sleep. So big up on yourself, yeah? Look more. Jeremy and everybody. All of my moderators, them, all I secret watch of them. All the persons that not getting notifications. What can I tell you? I guess I'll have to do a video and tell you guys what to do. So you can always get a notification on your WhatsApp that I'm live. I know that it's happening, but what can I do? I don't control YouTube, but I recognize the numbers have dropped significantly, and it doesn't matter when I go live. It doesn't matter if it's. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Numbers have dropped significantly, but we keep on pressing on, Jamaica. Keep on pressing on. Keep on pressing on. See y'all later, man.